Divine Comprehension, a dimensional journey begins in Douluo. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 301, The Mentally Contaminated Fishing Duo. Seeing that the atmosphere was getting heavier, the old Taoist priest quickly adjusted the atmosphere and said to Tianjin Song, Okay, don't say these unhappy words. Junior brother, you should go back first. Gongqing and Lu Liang should be ready soon. They should be here soon. Remember to pretend to be more like you and don't reveal your identity later. Well, okay, then I'll go first. Alice, Zioyuzi, hearing the words of the old Taoist priest, a complex look flashed in Tianjin Song's eyes. Rongshan, give me a ride. Yes, Uncle Tian. Hearing Tianjin Song's words, Rongshan quickly replied. Then, he hurried forward, grabbed the wheelchair that Tianjin Song was sitting on, and after saying goodbye to the old Taoist priest and others, he took Tianjin Song out of the hall. Then I should leave too. If I don't walk around, how can I get bait to take the bait? Zhang Chulin also smiled when he saw Tianjin Song leaving. Well, go ahead, Chulin, be careful. Zhang Huai did not stop Zhang Chulin, but just whispered a few words and let him leave. Then let's go quickly, finish the work early and go home early. By the way, I've been out for almost 7 days. If I don't go back, it will exceed the time limit for my leave. Seeing this, Gabriel put away his smartphone, stood up and said weakly. Should I be glad that you can still remember going to school? Xiaojia, Vinit rolled her eyes. She saw Gabriel's lazy life these days, and it made her veins jump. That kind of lazy life, even in Vinit's impression, the demons of the lazy faction, one of the 7 deadly sins, are probably not more lazy than her friend. Haha, Vinit, how can you say that? What did you forget? I dare not forget this. Haha. Hearing this, Gabriel laughed awkwardly with a guilty conscience. To be honest, if she wasn't afraid that her sister would find out she was missing when she was patrolling the human world and get angry, Gabriel didn't even want to go back. After all, how good is it to stay in this world? This era is more advanced than her world, with more advanced gaming equipment, more advanced games, and you can order takeout on your phone, and you don't even need to go to school. In addition, as a friend of the other world, you can also enjoy the preferential treatment of Daksha. It can be said to be a paradise for a homegirl. But when she thought of her sister who frightened her and was angry, Gabriel shuddered subconsciously. In the end, after weighing the pros and cons, Gabriel gave up the tempting idea of staying. Huh? Looking at Gabriel's guilty expression, Vinit looked at her with a little suspicion, but Vinit didn't say anything. After all, it was a good thing that Gabriel had this idea. Then let's take action. I'll go first. You can do whatever you want. Let's go. After that, Wu Tong flashed and chased in the direction where Zhang Chulin left. Not long after Wu Tong walked out of the main hall of the Taoist temple, he caught up with Zhang Chulin who was walking and fishing. Chulin, brother Tong? Why are you here? Zhang Chulin heard someone calling him, turned his head and saw that it was Wu Tong. So Zhang Chulin asked with some confusion. I'm going to play with you. I have nothing to do, Wu Tong replied boredly. Okay. Hearing this, Zhang Chulin shrugged and said indifferently. After all, he couldn't stop Wu Tong from doing anything. Moreover, if Wu Tong followed, it would be a lot more convenient. After all, everyone in the group knew Wu Tong's strength, and no one in the world could compete with him. With Wu Tong walking with him, Zhang Chulin felt full of security. Then let's go. Then, the two walked side by side. Little brother, it's very dangerous to go out. If you get caught by bad guys, that would be bad. Do you want to go to my house with me? I will protect you. Just as the two were walking in the forest, a pretentious voice suddenly sounded from behind them. Wu Tong and Zhang Chulin smiled at each other when they heard the voice. The fish has taken the bait. Then, the two turned their heads to see who the first bird was. Unexpectedly, as soon as they turned their heads and saw the person clearly, Wu Tong and Zhang Chulin couldn't help but retching. Because there was only one woman in the crowd of more than a dozen people opposite, and this woman was a bucket with a tonnage of at least 300 kilograms. So where the voice just now came from is naturally self-evident. In fact, just this alone would not make the two of them look like this. They can be regarded as well-informed. Although they have never seen such a person whose voice and appearance do not match, they have heard about it on the internet and are not surprised. However, the appearance of this bucket is really too weird. Long and short hands, pockmarked face, uneven eyes, protruding ears, big buck teeth, and nose hair that sticks out of the nostrils for at least 2 centimeters. The most terrifying thing is that this unidentified creature is still looking at you with a look of desire. This appearance is really a bit hot. This kind of beauty, please forgive the 2 people who are really unable to resist. This voice and appearance are completely different, right? The 2 recalled the voice they heard just now, combined with the bucket-shaped creature in front of them, and couldn't help but roar and complain in their hearts. The voice they heard just now, although a little pretentious, is generally quite gentle. Originally, the 2 thought that the person who spoke was a beautiful woman, and thought about whether they should be gentle when they started to fight later. As a result, they never expected that the person who spoke was completely different from what they thought. Is this gentle? If they don't kill it quickly, they will be sorry for their eyes that have been seriously polluted. Hey? What do you 2 mean? Am I not beautiful? Water Bucket was immediately dissatisfied when he saw the 2's actions. Big sister, of course you are the most beautiful. You are simply the most beautiful woman in the world. Yes, Big sister is the most beautiful woman in the world. Big sister, don't talk nonsense with them. They must have aesthetic problems. Otherwise, how could they not appreciate your beauty? Old Wang is right. Kill them quickly, Big sister. Before Wu Tong and the others could say anything, the group of people surrounding Wu Tong and the others heard it and rushed to speak to comfort the water bucket. Chapter 302, Simple Foul Mouth, Ultimate Enjoyment. Although this group of people also agreed with Zhang Chulin and the others' actions, they absolutely could not show it at this time. Considering the strength and brutality of the big sister, if you are not careful, you will die. Zhang Chulin did not care about the flattering words of the group of minions. Instead, he extended his mental power to sense the energy intensity of the bucket opposite, and then thought silently in his heart, it seems that they are just some small minions who are seeking to curry favor with the powerful, but this group of people actually attached themselves to this bucket, so it seems that their strength should not be strong. Well, they can fight. After understanding the strength of this group of people, Zhang Chulin no longer had any worries. Having already been sure of victory, Zhang Chulin did not intend to indulge these people who wanted to kill him, so he spoke directly, and a sarcasm came out of his mouth. Hey, everyone, if there is a problem with your eyes, you can go to the hospital. You can't tell the difference between beauty and ugliness, and this big sister, people should at least have some self-knowledge, okay? Where did you get the courage to think that you are a beauty? Did Liang Ru give it to you? It's not your fault that you are ugly, but if you come out to scare people, then it's your fault. You said you are so ugly, why don't you come out to scare people? Your appearance has brought spiritual pollution to others, which is difficult to cure. How to say, simple foul mouth, extreme enjoyment. Zhang Chulin was happy to scold, but the bucket opposite him was not in a good mood. Hearing Zhang Chulin's words, Bucket only felt that the words were like sharp blades flying towards her, cutting her with lead. Listening to Zhang Chulin's words, Water Bucket's anger value was full, and then he was ready to roar at Zhang Chulin. How dare you? How dare you? However, she hadn't finished her words. The next moment, with a bang, the water bucket lady who was attacking with all her strength was directly killed by an invisible force into endless blood mist floating in the air. The other people who surrounded the 2 people were stunned when they saw the water bucket that suddenly exploded. A group of people looked at the disappeared big sister, and then looked at the blood-red mist that had not yet dissipated in the air. How could they not understand what happened? Their umbrella was dead. After coming to their senses, a group of people looked at Wu Tong and Zhang Chulin with horror and fear in their eyes. As the younger brothers of Water Bucket, they naturally knew the strength of Water Bucket very well. It is no exaggeration to say that Water Bucket alone can easily kill a group of them. And now, this woman with terrifying strength was killed in one stroke. There was a sharp contrast between the strong and the weak at this moment. Therefore, facing Wu Tong and the other 2 with such terrifying strength, a group of people did not even think of resisting, and they knelt down and begged for mercy. Hero, wait a minute, we surrender, please spare my life. I have an 80-year-old mother and a crying child. I can't die, I was forced. Thank you for helping me out of the sea of suffering. Aren't you guys too quick to admit defeat? Zhang Chulin stared at the group of weirdos who immediately knelt down and begged for mercy as soon as Bucket died, and couldn't help but complain. Hearing Zhang Chulin's words, A group of people kneeling on the ground rolled their eyes silently. Nonsense. If they didn't kneel fast enough, they would have died countless times. Fuck, I was just planning to play, but I was caught off guard. That guy actually dared to murder my eyes. Wu Tong also recovered at this time and said with a gloomy face. Hearing Wu Tong's words, Zhang Qulin seemed to think of what happened just now, and quickly took a breath, shook his head, and hurriedly threw the figure in his mind out. Damn, it's really unlucky, forget it, it makes me lose the mood to play. Wu Tong didn't pay attention to Zhang Qulin's actions, and waved his hand casually, and a stream of energy spread out and fell on a group of people. After a while, all the people kneeling on the ground had fainted. Then, Wu Tong waved his hand again, and after destroying the innate key in the body of the person who fainted on the ground, he turned to look at Zhang Qulin and said, "Let's leave this group of people here. You tell those people, and then let's continue walking and find a beautiful woman to wash our eyes, okay, Brother Tong, brothers, I'll leave it to you here. If there's a chance, please have a drink." Zhang Qulin did not refuse Wu Tong's proposal. He turned his head and looked at a place. After giving an order to the figures who were protecting him in secret, he followed Wu Tong and left. "Hey, isn't this Erlingaiu's Henren? I heard that you didn't even make it to the top 8 this time. Do you want me, your sister, to comfort you?" Zhang Lingai was running in the forest, running around to eliminate all the uninvited guests. Who knew that when passing by a bush, an extremely familiar voice suddenly sounded from the bush. Hearing this, Zhang Linggaiu's face suddenly froze, and he turned his head with a serious look. As soon as he turned around, he saw a familiar pink color appearing in front of him. Xiaohe, Zhang Lingai was stunned when he saw the figure in front of him. Xiaohe. His first woman, and his only woman. She was also the culprit of the incident that made him extremely regretful. Zhang Linggaiu's feelings for this woman have always been complicated. Now suddenly seeing this unforgettable woman, Zhang Linggaiu's expression was inevitably a little complicated. "Why are you here? Why can't I be here? What? Don't you welcome me, Xia?" He heard Zhang Linggaiu's question and immediately walked towards him with a sweet smile on her face. Then, looking at Zhang Linggaiu's vigilant look, she said unhappily, "I'm the only one. I saw you just now and came here secretly." "Don't worry, that's not what I meant." Before he finished speaking, Zhang Linggaiu's body was surrounded by a fragrance. While Zhang Lingai was talking, Xiaohe directly hugged him in her arms. Zhang Lingai was stunned, and then he struggled hurriedly, trying to break free from Xiaohe's arms. "What are you doing? Let me go, I need to go to other places to provide support." "No, why are you going there? Are you going to die? Do you know how many experts Quanxing has sent this time? With your strength, what can you do to help? Just stay here." Chapter 303, The Four Madmen of Quanxing, Confrontation. Hearing this, Xiaohe not only did not let go, but hugged him tighter, as if to say, "You stay here." Zhang Lingai was slightly stunned when he heard Xiaohe's words. He was touched, but also a little bit amused. But it was no wonder. He didn't know the changes that had taken place in Longhu Mountain after Zhang Qulin came to Longhu Mountain. In this way, naturally, she didn't know that his strength had changed dramatically after he became a divine ringmaster. He is no longer the same as before. It is no exaggeration to say that as long as he wants, he can easily defeat 100 of his former selves. So, let alone the so-called all-round masters, even if it is a figure of the level of the 10 masters, he can fight with them. Martial soul, wordless book can imprint magic. As long as his energy is enough, he can transform into a mobile turret with terrifying power. "Xiaohe, you?" Zhang Lingai was about to say something. He was interrupted by a sudden voice. "You little slut, I thought you were planning to do something by sneaking out. It turns out you came here secretly to meet your lover, and it's really unexpected that your lover is Linggaiu's Henren from Longhu Mountain. What a trick." A soft female voice came from behind Xiaohe instantly. As the voice sounded, 3 figures also appeared. Thunder Smoke Cannon, Gowning, Intestinal Poison, Dao Mei, and Misfortune Root, Shen Chong. In addition, Xiaohe, who was holding his own bone scraper. Quanxing's 4 crazy people who love wine, sex, money and anger, seemed to have arrived. Looking at the 4 people in front of him, Zhang Linggaiu's eyes moved, and he was about to speak, but Xiaohe spoke first. "You 3, are you following me?" At this time, Xiaohe's tone was completely without the charm of the past, but as cold as the Arctic wind. The appearance of the 3 people caught Xiaohe off guard. Xiaohe felt nervous and dissatisfied. She didn't expect that her three so-called companions would follow her. That's right, they are so-called companions. In the universe, there are no eternal friends, only eternal interests. As long as the interests are big enough, nothing can't be betrayed. In this way, the so-called combination is nothing more than a collection of interests, and the four madmen are the same, so they can't be called real companions. If you think about it this way, it's normal for these three things to follow her. But why did they suddenly follow her? Xiaohe's mind was working fast, thinking about the purpose of Shen Chong and the other two suddenly following her. Haha, Xiaohe, don't get me wrong, we just saw you sneaking out and were a little curious. In addition, we are worried about your safety, so we followed you. On the surface, Shen Chong, who looks like an ordinary workplace elite, is harmless. Seeing that Xiaohe is a little angry, he hurriedly smiled and waved his hands. Although Shen Chong looks kind, no one present will easily underestimate this guy. Because all those who underestimate Shen Chong have been played to death by this kind-hearted guy. Worried about my safety? I don't believe you. Hearing Shen Chong's words, Xiaohe's mouth twitched, and she suddenly had the urge to laugh out of anger. When did Guangxing become such a united and friendly organization? How come she didn't know? What is Guangxing? The so-called Guangxing emphasizes the preservation of the whole nature and not burdening the body with things. It is one of the branches of Taoism and was founded by Yang Zhu, one of the 100 schools of thought in the Warring States period. It adheres to the concept of not plucking a hair to benefit the world, and not taking a hair to harm the world. However, this concept is too shocking and later generations cannot understand its true meaning. Over time, Guangxing took its dregs and removed its essence, only remembering not plucking a hair, and completely forgetting not harming a hair. Gradually, it became a 1,000-year-old evil sect that harbored filth and accepted everyone. Moreover, because the people in Guangxing do whatever they want, ignore laws and morals, and act without rules, they are like a group of mad dogs, biting no matter whether they are good or bad. Therefore, not to mention the decent people who dislike them, even the internal members of their Guangxing were wary of each other. After all, no one knew when the good friend next to you would sell you out for some reason. Ordinary Guangxing members were like this, not to mention the four crazy people who understood human desires very well. Therefore, although Xiaohe was angry about the other three people following her, she could understand. But you said you would follow me, so what? And you made up such a ridiculous reason, are you treating her like a fool? However, Shen Chong continued to speak as if he did not see Xiaohe's expression, but I didn't expect that following you this time would actually let us see a good show. If the Quanxing demon girl secretly met with a disciple of the heavenly master of Longhu Mountain, if this were to be told, no one would believe it unless they saw it with their own eyes, right? After Shen Chong finished speaking, Dao Mei also smiled and said, then Xiaohe, can you explain the current situation? After all, the way you get along with each other doesn't look like the ability of a bone scraper, right? Goning did not speak, still with a kind expression, silently watching Xiaohe, waiting for Xiaohe's explanation. Xiaohe did not speak, but looked at the three people with a cold expression. The atmosphere at the scene suddenly became dead silent, and a murderous atmosphere instantly filled the whole place. In this dead silence, the four people looked at each other silently, their eyes were full of indifference, as if the next moment, they would fight if they disagreed. Seeing this scene, Zhang Lingaiyu frowned, and his eyes looking at Shen Chong and the other two were also a little cold. These three all-natural demons, are they thinking of dying? Then Zhang Lingaiyu stopped being silent, and with a little effort, he easily broke free from Xiaohe's embrace. Without waiting for Xiaohe to speak, he silently stood up and stood in front of Xiaohe, protecting her behind him. Zhang Lingaiyu said nothing, replaced Xiaohe with an expressionless face, and looked at Shen Chong and the other two in front of him. Seeing Zhang Lingaiyu doing this, Shen Chong immediately smiled and said, haha, it's unexpected that the rumored cold and noble Lingaiyu's Henren actually has such a side. He is really kind and gentle to women. Tisk tisk, but in this case, it seems that there is no need to explain. Your relationship is really unusual. As soon as Shen Chong finished speaking, Gaoning quietly launched the 12 labor emotion formation. The moment Gaoning took action, Zhang Lingaiyu felt his anger gradually rising. And a sense of inexplicable anger suddenly emerged in his mind. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304 Taoist Mantras, Purifying Heart Mantras, Seeking Fortune and Fortune in Danger. After carefully feeling the nameless fire that suddenly emerged from his heart for a while, Zhang Lingaiyu finally spoke. Is this the famous 12 labor emotion formation? Mobilize the opponent's emotions and make them go to extremes? It's really powerful, but it feels a bit too weak. Zhang Lingaiyu said this not to provoke Gaoning. He really felt that this ability was a bit useless. Although Gaoning's 12 labor emotion formation can affect people's emotions and make them go to extremes. But the influence is only an influence after all, not a direct manipulation. Since it is an influence, there must be a process. And in this process, as long as there is a way to keep the spirit clear, or the ability to kill Gaoning directly, then this 12 labor emotion formation will fall apart. And it just so happens that Zhang Lingaiyu has this ability. His Wuhumuzi Shai Anshu just happened to include a skill that happened to be the nemesis of the 12 labor emotion formation. The calming mantra. One of the 8 Taoist mantras. It can keep people's spirit clear and not be disturbed by the outside world. That is to say, as long as Zhang Lingaiyu uses the heart purification mantra, the negative buff of his anger at the moment will dissipate directly. It is precisely because of this that in Zhang Lingaiyu's view, the ability of the 12 labor emotion formation is indeed very useless. After saying that, Zhang Lingaiyu ignored Gaoning's angry expression after hearing his words. Instead, he directly mobilized another energy in his body besides the innate ki, soul power. Then, accompanied by a burst of blue light in Zhang Lingaiyu's hand. In an instant, a simple and Taoist white jade book appeared in Zhang Lingaiyu's hand. Along with this white jade book, there were 5 black soul rings behind Zhang Lingaiyu. Too weak? Just relying on you, a junior from Longhu Mountain, you dare to say such a thing. Isn't it a bit arrogant? This is a martial soul. Gaoning was furious at Zhang Lingaiyu's words and was about to belittle Zhang Lingaiyu. However, they were attracted by the white jade book that suddenly appeared in Zhang Lingaiyu's hand and the black soul ring behind him. For a moment, they were so shocked that they forgot their original plan. Good, I didn't expect that I could get such a harvest by following Shahi this time. The other 2 were also attracted by the book that exuded endless Taoism the moment the white jade book appeared. At this moment, the 2 looked at the wordless book with greed and desire. During the Luotian Daijio, they also saw the powerful combat power of Sanayuki and others who used martial spirits. Therefore, for something like martial spirits, they have long coveted it. But because Sanayuki and others are very strong, they can't afford to offend them, so they can only suppress their greed. They thought they would never have the chance to get this kind of power again. Who knew that Zhang Lingaiyu suddenly used this power, which made the 3 of them overjoyed, and their greed was aroused again. Shen Chong said excitedly, Master Lingaiyu, as long as you hand over the martial soul cultivation method to us, we can pretend that we didn't see what happened between you and Xiaohe. Dao Mei also forgot to be elegant at this moment, and said excitedly, that's right, I guess you 2 don't want to fight with us, right? As long as Master Lingaiyu hands over the martial soul cultivation method, the fight between us is completely unnecessary. But if Master Lingaiyu is unwilling to give it to us, don't blame us for being rude. At the end of the speech, a fierce look flashed in Dao Mei's eyes. Zhang Lingaiyu ignored the 3 people's harsh words, but opened the white jade book in his hand. Purifying heart mantra, Zhang Lingaiyu muttered silently, and then the wordless heavenly book in his hand automatically turned to the page with a purifying heart mantra. Then, a white light flashed, and the purifying heart mantra floated from the book, split into 2 in the air, and sank into the bodies of Zhang Lingaiyu and Xiaohe respectively. Calm your mind and calm your breath, and your mind will be clear. Feeling the calm state of mind that suddenly became as peaceful as the sage mode, Xiaohe was surprised. He could clearly feel that the ability of this spell to purify the heart was completely superior to the ability of the 4 Zhangquang, Zhang Lingaiyu. Of course, this is one of the 8 great spells of Taoism, and its status is definitely superior to the ability of the 4 Zhangquang to rouse emotions. In other words, this ability can be said to be the natural enemy of the 4 Zhangquang. Thinking of this, Xiaohe, who was originally a little worried about Zhang Lingaiyu's 1-on-3 behavior, was completely relieved at this moment, and the worry hidden in her eyes was no longer visible. Standing behind Zhang Lingaiyu, she looked at Zhang Lingaiyu's broad back with a sweet smile. 5 Thunder Talismans, Feeling the anger disappearing in her body, Zhang Lingyu turned her eyes back to the three Zhangquang who were looking at her vigilantly, and her lips moved slightly. In an instant, a series of azure-blue transparent thunder talismans immediately emerged from the pages of the wordless heavenly book. They floated quietly in the air, quietly waiting for Zhang Lingyu to mobilize them. Seeing Zhang Lingyu's posture, Shen Chong and the other two immediately understood Zhang Lingyu's plan. Well, it seems that we have to fight. But why do I feel that this should be called Tongshan Talisman? Compared with your martial spirit, what is Lu Jin's Tongshan Talisman? Shen Chong and the other two looked at the countless thunder talismans floating above Zhang Lingyu's head, and their mouths twitched slightly. In addition to fear, they couldn't help but complain in their hearts. At the same time, seeing this unreasonable and terrifying power again, the greed for martial spirits in the hearts of the three people became more persistent. When Shen Chong looked at Zhang Lingyu, a hint of murderous intent had begun to emerge in his eyes. Go straight ahead, subdue Zhang Lingyu, and then slowly interrogate him about his martial soul cultivation method. As for the old heavenly master's pursuit, the worst that can happen is that after subduing Zhang Lingyu, we can just run away, and at most change our appearance and hide for a few years. I don't believe that the old heavenly master will always wander around and ignore the Taoist tradition of Longhu Mountain. What's more, after obtaining the power of the martial soul, we may not be unable to enter the ranks of the top, and it is possible to fight with a heavenly master. Gaoning struggled for a while when he heard Shen Chong's words, but the greed in his heart still overwhelmed his reason. Then Gaoning also made up his mind and said, yes, no matter how many thunder talismans he has, there will always be a time when he will run out. With his key, he can't hold on for too long. Moreover, if we miss this opportunity, we may never have this opportunity again in the future. Fortune is sought in danger, and we have to fight. Chapter 305, The Fight Begins. The Thunder Talisman becomes a sea of thunder. Continued from the last chapter, after hearing what Gaoning and Shen Chong said, Dao Mei, who was still a little hesitant, thought for a moment and then made up her mind to join the two. If it was her usual self, she would not take such a big risk, but at this moment, she had been blinded by the powerful power from the martial spirit. She had long lost the ability to think rationally, and driven by greed, she no longer cared about anything else. Do it. After deciding to do it, the three of them no longer hesitated. After looking at each other, Shen Chong took the lead and shouted. The other two moved at the sound. In an instant, three figures suddenly rushed out, and the innate ki around them surged, increasing their own speed, turning into three afterimages, and rushed towards Zhang Lingyu and Xiaohe. Although the three did not speak, their cooperation over the years made them tacitly connected. Without much communication, they had already assigned their opponents in a subconscious tacit understanding. Shen Chong and Dao Mei did not stop and rushed straight in the direction of Zhang Lingyu. After the means of the 12 labor emotion formation were abolished, Gaoning, who had lost his strongest means, consciously rushed towards Xiaohe, ready to entangle Xiaohe and prevent Xiaohe from intervening in the other battlefield. When Xiaohe saw that Gaoning did not deal with Zhang Lingyu, but rushed towards her, after a little thought, she understood the plan of several people. Send Gaoning to entangle me, and then let Shen Chong and Dao Mei deal with Lingyu? The idea is quite good, but it's a pity that it's useless. The ability of this heart purification mantra is not only the nemesis of the 12 labor emotion formation, but also the nemesis of me and Dao Mei. Most of our abilities are to affect people's emotions, make people fall into extreme emotions, and thus induce the enemy to collapse. However, Lingyu's heart purification mantra can directly eliminate this influence from the root. So this battle distribution is useless, because Dao Mei's ability can't play a role at all. She is completely a drag. Xiaohe smiled secretly. Just at a glance, she has seen the battle arrangement of these three people. In this regard, Xiaohe's evaluation is, this arrangement is simply a bunch of shit, it will not play any role at all. Although Xiaohe saw it, she did not intend to tell Shen Chong and the other two this information. After all, she has now broken up with Shen Chong and others. Telling them would be asking for trouble, wouldn't it? Haha, if that's the case, then there's nothing to worry about. After figuring out everything, Xiaohe put her mind at ease and focused on dealing with Gaoning, who rushed over. After being blessed by the pure heart mantra, Gaoning's 12 labor emotion formation was useless to her. But her bone scraping knife ability is still useful to Gaoning. Especially since Gaoning is a man, it is even more professional. I've wanted to beat you up for a long time, but I never had the chance. But I didn't expect that today would give me a good opportunity. Xiaohu smiled and silently circulated the key in her body. Bone-scraping knife, resting muscles. Suddenly, a pink light enveloped Xiaohu's hand. After the pink light completely enveloped her palm, Xiaohu clenched her pink fist and punched directly in the direction Gao Ning was rushing towards. On the other side, Zhang Lingai looked at Dao Mei and Shen Chong rushing towards him and was slightly stunned. Are these two so brave? Seeing so many thunder talismans, not only did they not hide, but they also dared to rush up? Isn't it said that the four Zhangkuangs are very cunning? How come I didn't see it at all? Speaking of which, these two guys saw me summon so many thunder symbols, and dared to rush over directly? Is there something wrong with their brains? Or did they make a misjudgment? I don't think I've heard that the four crazy people are mentally ill. So, it should be a misjudgment, right? After a little thought, Zhang Lingai also reacted. Looking at the two people rushing over, he was speechless. Seeing how confident they are, it should be, but if he didn't understand, it would be fine. But after understanding, Zhang Lingai was even more speechless. Alice, is greed still blinding your brain? Now you don't even use your brain. It's okay to not dodge when you see so many thunder symbols, but you dare to rush over? It seems that these three guys are still lucky. Do you think my thunder symbols are fake? Or do you think my key is not enough to supply the attack of thunder symbols? Forget it, who cares? Anyway, I don't plan to let them go. Since they are sent to my door, let's just get rid of them. After finishing the brainstorming, Zhang Lingai directly attacked the two people who rushed over. As Zhang Lingai raised his hand, bursts of thunder suddenly sounded above his head. The thunder symbols on Zhang Lingai's head turned into violent and raging thunder in the air as Zhang Lingai made a gesture. However, these thunders did not rush towards Shen Chong and the others, but merged in the air, and finally mixed together, condensing into a sea of thunder that exuded terrifying power. Sure enough, my favorite is still the thunder method. It's not that Zhang Lingai doesn't have other powerful skills, it's just that he has been obsessed with Yang Wulei for many years. After he was branded with the Thunder Talisman and Thunder Method, he always likes to use Thunder Method to fight the enemy, so as to satisfy his addiction to controlling Thunder Method. Of course, Zhang Lingai is not a person who does not know how to adapt. When facing a strong enemy, he will naturally choose to use more powerful skills. However, that is only done when facing a strong enemy. And the four madmen obviously do not belong to this category. So Zhang Lingai didn't even think about it, and directly used his most commonly used Thunder Talisman to deal with Shen Chong and Dao Mei. As Zhang Lingai's index finger lightly tapped, the sea of thunder followed the direction of Zhang Lingai's finger, and roared towards Shen Chong and Dao Mei. Fuck, this is too exaggerated? Shen Chong and Dao Mei were immediately shocked when they saw the sea of thunder surging in, and they couldn't help but swear. They originally thought that Zhang Lingai's countless thunder talismans were just for show, to scare them. But they didn't expect that these thunder talismans were all real, and what was even more unexpected was that these thunder talismans could actually be superimposed, and they also superimposed such a terrifying attack. After feeling the might of the sea of thunder superimposed by the thunder talismans, the two of them looked ugly. This terrifying attack that was like a heavenly calamity, let alone them. I'm afraid that even the old master wouldn't dare to take it head-on. Right, it was just their own guess. The alien world didn't know the old master's strength. Chapter 306 ends. The disrespectful old master. Run. Seeing that the situation is not good, run first. In the whole nature, one's own interests are the foundation. Life is the most important, and everything else cannot compare to one's own life. Therefore, when seeing this sea of thunder that was like a heavenly calamity, Shen Chong and Dao Mei, who were originally blinded by greed and desire, suddenly shuddered and woke up. After realizing that they were no match for Zhang Lingai. After Shen Chong and Dao Mei looked at each other, they tacitly made a 180-degree turn and ran towards the depths of the forest behind without slowing down. Shen Chong. Dao Mei. I bought a watch for you two last year. Seeing the backs of Shen Chong and the others turning around and running away, Goning was almost vomiting blood in anger. The power of the sea of thunder was so terrifying that not only Shen Chong and the others were afraid, but Goning was also afraid. After feeling the fear from deep in his heart, Goning originally planned to run away. It was just because Shahi kept entangled with him, and he couldn't get away for a while. Goning originally planned to ask Shen Chong and the other two to help him, but when he turned around, He saw Shen Chong and Dao Mei running away. Seeing this, Goning immediately realized that he was forced to cover the rear. So Goning, who was furious, cursed at the two people who were running away. Shen Chong and Dao Mei didn't feel the slightest bit of emotion when they heard Goning's curse. If Goning likes to curse, then let him curse, it won't hurt him. As long as Goning can hold back the two people behind him, buy them some time, and allow them to escape smoothly. It doesn't matter if Goning curses a few times, they won't lose anything anyway. Zhang Lingaiyu didn't know the psychological activities of these people. At this time, Zhang Lingaiyu saw Shen Chong and Dao Mei abandon Goning and run away. He frowned and said with some disgust, "You are really a two-faced, treacherous Quanxing demon. You deserve to die, but do you think you can run away if you want to? If you run away, wouldn't my Lei Hai be summoned in vain?" Zhang Lingaiyu's heart moved, and then he said softly, "Restrained, immobilize, calm the soul, square inch of heaven and earth, draw the ground into prison, coin worth 1,000 gold in an instant." A series of spiritual lights emerged from the wordless heavenly book, turning into a series of restraining spells, flying towards Shen Chong and the others. The spiritual light flew very fast, and in the blink of an eye, it had already landed on the fleeing Shen Chong and Dao Mei. The two who were struggling to escape and never looked back did not see the flying restraining spells. They just suddenly felt that there were invisible restraints falling on them. The two looked down and their faces turned black. I don't know when, the two of them were covered with talismans with various colors of light. The power of each talisman is different, but they all have one function, binding. Shen Chong and the other two, who were fixed by a pile of talismans and unable to move, saw this scene and immediately realized that they could not run away. So the two of them were ready to turn around and beg for mercy from Zhang Lingaiyu. "Master Lingaiyu, spare me," but when they turned their heads, the Sea of Thunder had already caught up with them silently. It fell on them without any pause. Crackling, the sound of electric mosquitoes swatting electric mosquitoes suddenly rang out in the forest. At the same time, there were also the struggles and cries of Shen Chong and the other two. In a moment, after the Sea of Thunder dissipated, only a dark land and two extremely conspicuous piles of white ashes on the ground were left. The four madmen, Shen Chong, the root of evil, and Dao Mei, the intestinal poison. Death. While Zhang Lingaiyu was dealing with Shen Chong and the other two, Xiaohe on the other side also dealt with Goning. From Goning's attack to Xiaohe's solution, it took less than 10 minutes in total. The time was very short, but this was normal. Xiaohe's bone scraper, rest muscle, had the ability to attack men. As long as he was attacked by Xiaohe, Goning would be affected by Xiaohe's ability and let him do whatever he wanted. Originally, Goning was also a threat to Xiaohe, but unfortunately, Xiaohe happened to have the blessing of the pure heart mantra, which made her immune to Goning's strongest means. As one side lost ground, and the other side's escape caused Goning's mental turmoil. Therefore, Goning was hit by Xiaohe without checking for a while, and then he sank into the desire caused by the bone scraper, and was finally easily solved by Xiaohe. After everything was settled, Xiaohe and Zhang Lingaiyu turned their eyes to each other. "Oh, I didn't expect Lingaiyu's Henrin to be so powerful and to have solved the four crazy people in Quanxing so quickly. However, I don't know how Lingaiyu's Henrin plans to deal with me as a captive." Xiaohe walked to Zhang Lingaiyu leisurely, put her arms around Zhang Lingaiyu's waist, put her pretty face in front of Zhang Lingaiyu, and said in a teasing tone. Zhang Lingaiyu was stiffened by Xiaohe's trick, and was a little at a loss. However, Zhang Lingaiyu did not avoid the topic as Xiaohe thought. Instead, after a moment of silence, he slowly spoke, "The unspoken rule recognized by the alien world, anyone who catches Quanxing can be dealt with at will. Since you have fallen into my hands, be prepared to be locked by my side for the rest of your life." Listening to Zhang Lingaiyu's words, Xiaohe was slightly stunned, and then laughed. "Pucci, is this a confession? This is not like your style. According to your personality, shouldn't you be indecisive and let me go quietly in secret?" After saying that, without waiting for Zhang Lingaiyu to refute, Xiaohe looked at Zhang Lingaiyu gently again, "Although it doesn't sound like something you can say. But since this is coming from your mouth, I will take it as what you said. I agree with your confession." After Xiaohe finished speaking, looking at Zhang Lingaiyu's blushing cheeks, she couldn't help but move her index finger. She directly put her face close to Zhang Lingaiyu's mouth and kissed him. Xiaohe's sneak attack made Zhang Lingaiyu suddenly a little overwhelmed. But after coming to his senses, Zhang Lingaiyu put his arm around Xiaohe's waist and cooperated with her. From then on, thunder smoke cannon goning, dead. Bone scraping knife shahi, captured. Tisk tisk, this young man is full of energy. But Lingayu, under the influence of Chulan, has finally grown up a little. Although he is still quite dull, he has also taken on some responsibilities. On a tree not far behind the two of them, Zhang Zihui looked at the two people hugging and kissing under the tree, and an anti-smile suddenly appeared on his face. Chapter 307 Ziyouzi Gongqing. Of course, while Zhang Zihui was smiling, he did not forget to do his business. He took out his mobile phone silently and carefully recorded the black history of his little apprentice, in preparation for him to use it to tease his upright and somewhat dull apprentice in the future. After taking the photo, Zhang Zihui looked at the photo saved in his mobile phone, nodded with satisfaction and said, "This one is good. I didn't expect it to pass in one try. It seems that my photography skills are still as good as before. Since the things here are done, let's go to other places. But speaking of it, this farce has been going on for a long time, and it's time to end it." Then, Zhang Zihui smiled and glanced at the two people hugging each other below. Then, his figure flashed and disappeared on the tree. The back mountain of Longhu Mountain. Tianjin Hong's residence. Tianlao was staying quietly in the house, quietly waiting for Gongqing to arrive. The light in his eyes flickered, as if he was thinking about something. Beside him, Zhang Huai was also sitting there quietly, without making a sound to disturb him. He knew that his senior brother was in a very bad mood. However, Zhang Huai could understand it. After all, Ziyouzi, the incarnation of Gongqing, had been with senior brother Tian for 3 years. It was normal for the two sides to have feelings for each other. However, understanding was understanding. As for Gongqing, the culprit who caused Tianjin Hong's death in the original plot, Zhang Huai wanted to peel off his skin, pull out his tendons, and grind his bones to ashes. If Tianjin Hong hadn't decided to give Gongqing a chance in the end and wanted to see if Gongqing would come here, Zhang Huai would have taken action and killed Gongqing directly. Zhang Huai and Tianjin Hong, two brothers, sat quietly in the house. Rongshan stood outside indifferently, like an iron tower, guarding Tianjin Hong's safety. However, Rongshan's eyes were fixed on the gate in front of him. In his eyes, there was anger that was about to erupt like a volcano, and an almost unconcealable killing intent. As the few people waited in silence, time passed quietly. After an hour, a hurried sound of footsteps suddenly sounded. A little Taoist boy stumbled over with a panicked expression. Master Tian, it's not good. The Xianqi mansion is about to be destroyed by those Guangxi monsters." Hearing this familiar voice, Tianjin Hong, who was sitting quietly in the house, sighed faintly. "Alice, he is here after all." Senior brother Tian Zhang Huai saw this and immediately looked at the other party with some concern. Tianjin Hong shook his head and said, "I'm fine. I just feel a little uncomfortable. Don't worry about me, just follow the plan, outside the door. I didn't expect that you are here after all. In this case, then stay here completely." Rongshan saw Gongqing's pretentious attitude and didn't want to ask at all. He roared directly, without any hesitation, and slashed at Gongqing with a palm. "Uncle Rongshan, what's wrong with you? Why did you attack me?" "It's me, Ziyouzi." Seeing this, Gongqing stumbled in panic and dodged Rongshan's attack. While dodging, he explained his identity to Rongshan. "I know, I didn't hit the wrong person. I hit you, Ziyouzi." "No, maybe I should call you Guangxing acting sect leader Gongqing now." Seeing Gongqing dodge the attack, Rongshan's face turned pale and revealed Gongqing's identity. Gongqing's pupils shrank when he heard this, and he stopped pretending and said with a puzzled look, "Oh? My identity is exposed? It shouldn't be like this. And it seems that Master Rongshan also knows the purpose of my visit this time. This is a bit strange. In order not to expose the purpose of this time, we have used many methods. After ensuring that no one can leak the secret, we organized the attack on the mountain, so as to ensure that there is no mistake. Master Rongshan, I wonder where you learned these things from." After asking his doubts, Gongqing then returned to a calm and indifferent attitude, waiting for Rongshan's answer. "How did you know? It's none of your business. You, the evildoer who is ready to kill your master, have the nerve to ask? Humph, now you just need to know that you will definitely die here today." Rongshan didn't mean to answer Gongqing. Looking at Gongqing's indifferent look, he directly said a cruel word. Then he rushed towards Gongqing again. In this attack, Rongshan used all his strength, vowing to kill Gongqing completely and put an end to this evil. The mysterious sect of heaven and earth, the root of all ki, cultivate for billions of kalpas, and prove my supernatural power, as Rongshan called out the formula of the golden light mantra. A golden light that was like golden glass and almost condensed into substance covered Rongshan's body in an instant. The heavy golden light made his body look like a god or a demon, like a golden armored war god. Oh, this is troublesome. Seeing Rongshan use the power of the golden light mantra without thinking, Gongqing smiled bitterly and understood that Rongshan was serious. If it comes to real strength, he is definitely not Rongshan's opponent. Although he is the acting head of Guangxing, he is no more than 15 years old, and he has wasted 3 years in Longhu Mountain. Although he has the teachings of the famous teacher Bi Yuan, his strength is at most the level of a second-rate extraordinary person. The reason why he was able to succeed in the original work was that Bian Jinsong, as a disabled person, had almost no ability to resist. So let alone Gongqing, a trained alien, as long as there was no one guarding Bian Jinsong, even an ordinary person could easily kill Bian Jinsong. But now it is different. What Gongqing needs to face is not Bian Jinsong, who has no hands or feet and no ability to protect himself, but Rongshan, the direct disciple of the old Xianxi of Xianxi Mansion. As one of the 10 direct disciples taught by the old Xianxi, Rongshan, who is serious, may not be able to reach the level of the 10 masters. But he can also be regarded as the first echelon under the 10 masters. With the strength of a second-rate alien, against the aliens of the first echelon, Gongqing couldn't figure out how he should win. But if he was asked to give up, Gongqing would not be willing to give up. He planned for so long just to explore the secrets of the Jiaxin rebellion. For this reason, he even bet his life as a bet for this action. Chapter 308 Zhang Huai shows up to intimidate Xiaoliqing and others. In other words, if the plan to attack the mountain fails, Gongqing will have only one outcome in the end. That is, death. If he runs away rashly, the result will be death. But if he doesn't run, but fights hard and tries hard, there is still a glimmer of hope. From this point of view, the result of this multiple-choice question is naturally very clear. After all, if he doesn't fight, he will die. Although he is not afraid of death, his goal has not been achieved yet. He is unwilling to die like this. Oh, I'm sorry, Master Rongshan. After making up his mind, Gongqing did not hesitate anymore, and silently apologized in his heart. Then he shouted behind him, Grand Pasha, we have an agreement. If you don't save people, I will lose my life. Kid, when you left, didn't you say confidently that your plan was absolutely foolproof? You also said that you could handle it yourself without my help. What? It doesn't work now? It seems that your plan is just like that. It's agreed in advance that I am only responsible for helping you intercept people. I don't care about other things. Whether it succeeds or not depends on you. As soon as Gongqing finished speaking, an old voice suddenly sounded, and 3 figures slowly walked out from the wooden door behind Gongqing. As the moonlight spread in the courtyard, the faces of the 3 figures also emerged. The elder of Guangxing, Xiaoliqing, the fierce one. The foreign ghost, Baron, the descendant of the 6th treasury immortal thief. The Lu family, Lu Liang, the soul brightening technique. Obviously, the old man Xia who spoke just now was Xiaoliqing. Seeing these 3 people, Rongshan's face suddenly became solemn. He didn't take Gongqing seriously, and it was the same even if there was another Lu Liang. But apart from these 2 people, the remaining 2 people gave him a strong sense of crisis. Especially the foreign ghost Baron. Although Rongshan didn't feel a strong ki from him, he inexplicably gave him a strong sense of threat. Rongshan was naturally very confident about his feelings. So, for a while, Rongshan didn't dare to act rashly. Although he wanted to rush up and kill Gongqing, he was worried about Bian Jinsong's safety, and the sense of crisis brought by Xiaoliqing and Baron. Rongshan could only suppress his desire to move. Seeing that Rongshan didn't move, Xiaoliqing and Baron didn't move either. After all, they came here just for a promise and didn't intend to fight to the death. If you can avoid fighting, it's better not to fight. Gongqing and Lu Liang saw that Rongshan and Xiaoliqing didn't move, and they were a little disappointed, but then they decided to wait and see for a while. So, for a moment, there was a strange sense of silence at the scene. And at this moment, an old but full-bodied voice suddenly sounded from inside the house, and the words were full of ridicule for Xiaoliqing. Xia old ghost, why don't you chase Jinfei now? You have so much free time. Also, when did you learn to bully the younger generation? Old people should live your old age well, and don't come out to harm people anymore. The owner of this voice spoke while slowly opening the door from the inside. Creaky, with a tooth-grinding sound of the door opening, an old figure appeared in front of several people in an instant. Seeing this face, the other people didn't react. Only Xiaoling was shocked and angry, and raised one hand tremblingly, pointing at the figure. You. For a moment, Xiaoling looked at this familiar face and was shocked and speechless. Seeing this, LV Liang, Gongqing and Baron all looked at Xiaoling with a puzzled look. Why did old Xia suddenly become like this? Who is the old man opposite? Is he very strong? After a while, Xiaoling, who finally recovered, finally spoke fluently. You are Zhang Huai, aren't you dead? What? X3. Zhang Huai? Is he one of the 36 thieves of Guangxing, who has comprehended one of the 8 strange skills, the so-called end of the art, the origin of the body? Gongqing and the other two were stunned when they heard Xiaoling's words. If they remembered correctly, wasn't Zhang Huai dead? Then why did old Xia say that the person in front of him was Zhang Huai? Alzheimer's disease? Or is it that his eyes are blurred? It can't be that Zhang Huai is resurrected, right? How is this possible? After saying this, Xiaoling also reacted, and shook his head subconsciously. No, it's impossible, you can't be Zhang Huai. Before Xiaoling finished speaking, a unique key suddenly burst out from Zhang Huai's body. Like abyss, like prison, like river, like sea. Not only is the quantity huge, but it also has a unique characteristic. As soon as this key emerged, it gave Xiaoling a familiar feeling. Do you still doubt my identity? Xiaoling heard this, but did not answer, but closed his eyes and felt it carefully, and then opened his eyes with a complicated look. It's true, this is the source of key, and it's exactly the same as the key I felt back then. If you look at it this way, you are indeed the old guy Zhang Huai, really. Zhang Huai is resurrected? Resurrection from the dead. The secret of this is even greater than the Jiaxin rebellion. Who hasn't longed for rejuvenation, resurrection from the dead, and immortality? Originally thought that these were all fictional, but now a real example appeared in front of me. This made several people unable to hold back. If they could get the secret of Zhang Huai's resurrection, it would be much more valuable than the secret of the Jiaxin rebellion. Thinking of this, Gongqing and Lu Liang looked at each other silently, and saw the eagerness in each other's eyes. However, the huge gap in strength still made the two of them silently suppress their thoughts. Zhang Huai just chuckled at Xiaoling's complicated expression and did not respond. Instead, he moved his eyes to Baron next to Xiaoling. Does this feel like the successor of the 6th treasury immortal thief? Is that old guy Ru Enfeng still alive? Zhang Huai pretended to be surprised and revealed Baron's identity. Then his expression changed, and he looked at the people in front of him indifferently, and said slowly, "Okay, the time for reminiscing is over. You should also make a choice, leave or fight. I'll explain in advance that if I'm here, I will never let you hurt my senior brother. If you are not convinced, you can come and try, I'll take it all." Chapter 309. Baron and Xiaoling can't beat them, so they run away. Continued from the last chapter. After that, Zhang Huai ignored Gongqing and the other 4, but turned to Rongshan and said, "Rongshan, go to the house and take care of senior brother Tian first. These people are not for you to deal with, just leave it to me." Rongshan heard Zhang Huai's words, although he was confused and didn't know when Zhang Huai arrived. But he was very lucky that Zhang Huai was here today, otherwise, he alone would not be able to stop the 4 Guangxing people on the opposite side. Thinking of this, Rongshan's eyes flashed with a trace of fear. If Uncle Tian died in front of him again, he would definitely collapse, and he would not be able to explain to his master. Rongshan felt that Tian Jinshong's body had only been repaired for a month, and even if he practiced again, he would only have a month, so he could not be Gongqing's opponent. Therefore, he thought that without his protection, Tian Jinshong would definitely die. Thinking of this, Rongshan's recognition of this uncle who suddenly appeared not long ago and was not very familiar with him soared. Therefore, after hearing Zhang Huai's words, Rongshan did not ask why, and immediately nodded and said, "Yes, Uncle Zhang." Then, under the gaze of everyone, he turned his head and walked into the house. "Baron, why don't we two retreat? This old guy is not easy to deal with." On the other side, Seeing that Zhang Huai ignored him, Xiaoliking did not make himself boring anymore, and turned to Baron on the side and said softly. He didn't want to fight with Zhang Huai, this old monster. Who knows how strong this guy is now? If his strength has not recovered after resurrection, it's okay. But if Zhang Huai's strength has recovered, it will be troublesome. You know, the battle that Zhang Huai fought before his death shocked the entire Chinese alien world. Not to mention, in the battle, Zhang Huai can be said to be the C position of the whole situation. This guy, by his own strength, at least killed more than a dozen veterans from various sects in the alien world. That's why the terrifying power and fame of Key Body Origin, as well as Zhang Huai's strength, were completely revealed in that battle. Although, in the end, the old guy died under the Tang sect stand devouring. But even so, it can't change Zhang Huai's extremely terrifying combat power. If you want to deal with Zhang Huai, at least you have to gather all the good players of Guangxing together to compete with him. As for letting him go alone, forget it. Xiaoliking doesn't think that his strength is qualified to challenge Zhang Huai's combat power. As for running away, it will violate the agreement with Lu Liang, which is a bit embarrassing. Xiaoliking can only say, Guangxing's affairs, how can it be said to violate the agreement? Pulling a hair to benefit the world is not good. This is the teaching of Guangxing. In Guangxing, selfishness is the foundation, and saving one's own life is the most important. When there is no danger, it's okay to help casually, but now he has to use his life to help Gongqing achieve his wish. If he helped, wouldn't he be a fool? Is Xiaoliking a fool? Obviously not. Can a fool live so long? Xiaoliking is not stupid, but cherishes his life. Therefore, he never thought about fighting with Zhang Huai. It's not shameful to save his life. He hasn't caught up with Jin Feng yet, and he doesn't want to die. Besides, it's just a small agreement. Is it really so important? In fact, if Gongqing died, wouldn't the agreement be invalid? The cause and effect of death will disappear. He didn't think that Gongqing, who wanted to hurt Yan Jinsong, could escape from Zhang Huai's hands. Therefore, after weighing it in his heart, Xiaoliking, with absolute rationality, directly suppressed his desire for the secret of resurrection in his heart, and had the idea of retreating. I agree, the key in this old man's body is very special, I can't swallow it, and his strength is too terrifying, I can't beat him, and I don't want to fight him. Baron nodded in response when he heard Xiaoliking's words. He knew that he was no match for Zhang Huai when he was angry just now, so he had already thought of retreating. It was just because he was not sure that he could run away alone, so he had not moved. Now when he heard Xiaoliking's proposal, he immediately thought about it and quickly agreed to Xiaoliking's plan. In his opinion, even if the two of them joined forces, they were not the opponent of each other, but if they escaped, there would be no problem. So, after the two of them discussed it, Xiaoliking said, no more fighting, I can't beat you, although I don't know why you, an old ghost, crawled out of the ground. But the more you know, the sooner you die, and I know this old man. And Jin Feng hasn't eaten tonight, I have to send her food later. I won't get involved in the things here, can we leave? After Xiaoliking finished speaking, Zhang Huai glanced at him speechlessly. What are you pretending for? We are all 1,000-year-old foxes, what are you playing with me? If you are scared, then you are scared, is it necessary to do this? Still making excuses, bah, shame on you. But Zhang Huai was not a fool, he did not say what was in his mind, but stared at Xiaoliking and the others for a while, then said with a smile, whatever you want, I just hope that when I go out later, I won't see you on Longhu Mountain again. Otherwise, there will be no way to end it peacefully. Of course, we will go down the mountain right now and will definitely not stay on the mountain. Xiaoliking smiled when he heard it. Then, after getting Zhang Huai's consent, Xiaoliking and Baron looked at each other. Then, without paying any attention to Gongqing and the others, they ran towards the gate behind tacitly. After a while, the figures of the two completely disappeared in the forest, without a trace, because Baron and Xiaoliking are not evil people in the original plot, giving people a feeling of being both good and evil. And Xiaoliking's Twilight love is quite interesting, I want to add a plot later. So my setting is that these two people will be amnestied by the country in the future and become people of the country, so I won't kill them here. Next, it's your turn. After driving away Baron and Xiaoliking, Zhang Huai's eyes turned to Gongqing and Lu Liang who were standing uneasy. At this time, Zhang Huai's eyes no longer had the indifference just now. What was revealed in his eyes was a flame of anger. Being stared at by Zhang Huai with such a gaze, the two suddenly felt their hearts sink. Chapter 310 ends. Guangqing and Lu Liang are captured. Old Senior Zhang, I am Lu Liang from the Lu family. I just saw someone coming and followed him to see, but I didn't plan to do anything. Lu Liang wanted to struggle, so he pretended to be innocent and spoke first, and made a righteous cut with Guangqing, ready to remove himself from this matter. Guangqing heard this, his eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything in the end. According to the current situation, he is doomed to die anyway, and no one can tolerate the appearance of an undercover. So once the undercover is discovered, there is only one ending, that is death. Since his outcome is already doomed, there is nothing wrong with Lu Liang's behavior. After all, if Lu Liang can survive and bring back the news of Zhang Huai's resurrection to Guangxing, then even if this operation fails, it is not completely in vain. But what he didn't know was that Zhang Huai had learned about the original plot and had long known the purpose of Lu Liang's coming, and he would not be deceived by them at all. Zhang Huai just glanced at Lu Liang coldly. Lu family? Grandson of that old dog Lu Si, Lu Liang was frightened by Zhang Huai's cold eyes and nodded subconsciously. After seeing Lu Liang nod, Zhang Huai continued, do you think that if you move out of the Lu family, I won't dare to attack you? Oh, by the way, the news has been blocked during this period, you should not know yet? Lu Si has offended someone and is now dead, and the Lu family is about to face an investigation from above, and they are already in trouble. You used Lu Si and the Lu family to threaten me, isn't it a bit too funny? Moreover, you don't think I don't know about your joining Guangxing? Since you have joined Guangxing and come here at this sensitive time today, it means that your purpose is not pure. Do you think I will let you go? After that, Zhang Huai ignored it. After hearing that the Lu family was about to be in trouble, Lu Liang looked unbelievable and lost. Instead, he turned his gaze to Guangqing. Anything you want to say? For the sake of seeing your brother gone, I'll give you a chance to tell your last words. Guangqing's expression did not change when he heard Zhang Huai's words. After a long silence, he said, Guangqing knows that he will die today, and I have no complaints. The winner is the king, and the loser eats dust. All this is just the law of the jungle, and I have no opinion. However, in this plan, the one I feel most sorry for is old Tian. If possible, I would like to express my apologies to old Tian in person. Is that okay? Senior Zhang, looking at Guangqing's appearance, Zhang Huai had no expression on his face, but a look of disgust. Do you know how to apologize now? Why do you do something you know is wrong? Apologize? What did you do before? Are you worthy? Compared to apologizing, I hope you can die on the spot. But just when Zhang Huai was about to take action directly, Tian Jinsong's voice suddenly sounded behind him. Brother, bring them in. I also want to hear what he wants to say. Hearing this, Zhang Huai sighed and then used the golden light mantra. The golden light, like a physical entity, spread out from Zhang Huai and condensed into two golden ropes. It began to spread without explanation and fell on Guangqing and Lu Liang, tying them up tightly. Seeing this, Guangqing and Lu Liang did not resist. They knew their own strength very well and knew that they had no ability to resist. Therefore, compared to being beaten and then forced to tie up, the two would rather be tied up directly. After all, knowing that you will be beaten, you still want to resist. Isn't that sick? In the room, Rong Shan stood in front of Tian Jinsong, looking at Tian Jinsong, hesitant to speak, but after hesitating for a while, he finally did not speak. Tian Jinsong naturally felt Rong Shan's emotions, but he closed his eyes and did not explain anything. Just sat there, waiting for Zhang Huai to bring people in. Creaky, another harsh sound of opening the door rang out. Zhang Huai walked in slowly with Guangqing and Lu Liang. After throwing the two tied men to the ground, Zhang Huai walked to Tian Jinsong's side and sat down silently. After hearing the voice, Tian Jinsong opened his eyes and looked at Guangqing and Lu Liang without saying a word. Guangqing and Lu Liang lay on the ground in a mess, and did not speak. At this time, there was silence in the room. After a while, Tian Jinsong spoke faintly, Don't you have something to say to me? What's the point of not speaking now? How? Guangqing laughed at himself, and then said, Originally I had a lot to say, but after coming in, I didn't know what to say. After a moment of silence, Guangqing looked at Tian Jinsong's eyes and said seriously, Tian Lao, I know I'm sorry for you, But I won't regret this action. In your opinion, are the secrets of the Jiaxin rebellion so important? Those things are all things of the past. Since they are in the past, why don't we let them be buried in history? Why do we have to dig it out? Tianjin Song was not surprised to hear what Gongqing said. Since Gongqing could act as an undercover in Longhu Mountain for 3 years and planned to attack the mountain just for a guess, it can be seen that this kid has the talent of a hero. If a hero would regret it, that would be a strange thing. But what makes Tianjin Song a little sad is why these people always have to make trouble for those things in the past. I'm done, kill me. Gongqing didn't answer. After a moment of silence, he closed his eyes, raised his head and prepared to be killed. Seeing Gongqing like this, Tianjin Song sighed, then stood up, walked to Gongqing and said, in this case, in view of the 3 years of companionship, let me personally send you off. Hearing Tianjin Song's words, Gongqing opened his eyes and was about to say something. But he saw Tianjin Song standing in front of him with his hands and feet intact, looking at him with disappointment. Old Yan, are your hands and feet healed? Seeing Tianjin Song intact, Gongqing murmured in disbelief. It's been healed for a long time, just waiting for you to take the bait. Tianjin Song heard Gongqing's murmurs and spoke indifferently. No matter which useless person, after getting a healthy body, wouldn't he be ecstatic and want to move around? As a useless person, it's okay not to be able to exercise, but to continue to play a useless person. If it were someone else, they would have exploded long ago. But Old Yan is different. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311, Final Chapter, Luotian Grand Ceremony ends. Continued from the last chapter, but Mr. Yan is different. Over the past decades, countless times of meditation practice have brought his state of mind to an unprecedented height. Under this powerful state of mind, Tianjin Song can easily suppress the desires that arise in his heart. Therefore, Tianjin Song can do what ordinary people cannot. And he continued to play the role of a useless person for a month, just to attract the people of Guangxing to bite the hook. However, although there are reasons, this kind of hiding still makes Mr. Yan feel a little depressed. Of course, it is different now. After today's matter is over, Longhu Mountain can take off completely. And he will no longer have to disguise himself in the future, and he doesn't have to worry about being coveted by others. He can walk in the sun openly. Is that so? Gongqing muttered to himself in disbelief. Longhu Mountain actually knew that there would be an attack from Guangxing and that he was an undercover agent when Luotian Daijiao was held, and even laid a net for this. From this point of view, it is not unfair for Guangxing to lose this time. But how did Longhu Mountain know it? Gongqing was puzzled. But then, Gongqing smiled with relief. How did they know, and what does it matter? Losing is losing, and it is meaningless to discuss these things now. But Mr. Tian actually recovered? This is the only good news among all the bad news. Thinking of this, Gongqing raised his head with great effort, smiled and congratulated Tianjin Song. Haha, then congratulations on your recovery, Mr. Tian, you can finally get what you want. Yeah. Tianjin Song hummed and accepted the belated blessing from Gongqing. Then, the golden light on Tianjin Song's body suddenly burst out, and a glazed golden light that was no weaker than Zhanghua instantly covered his body. Then, 2 golden lights spread out from Tianjin Song's body and turned into 2 ropes in the air. The ropes fell on the necks of Gongqing and Lu Liang as expected. Feeling the touch on his neck, Gongqing slowly lowered his head, waiting for death to come. Lu Liang, who was standing aside, also understood that death was approaching. However, after hearing the news that the Lu family was in danger, Lu Liang had lost hope. Therefore, Lu Liang did not resist Tianjin Song's attack that could easily take his life. Then, crack accompanied by 2 bone fracture sounds that made people's scalps numb. The necks of Gongqing and Lu Liang suddenly showed a strange curved arc. The necks of the 2 of them were twisted into a right angle of 90 degrees by Tianjin Song's golden rope. Then, the divine light in their eyes slowly dissipated, and their bodies collapsed, and there was no life anymore. Let's go. Since the matter here is over, let's go outside to help. After doing everything, Tianjin Song ignored Rongshan, who was already stunned with surprise, and said to Zhanghua who was sitting next to him, Rongshan, when did Master Yuan cultivate the golden light mantra to this level? Did his meridians just recover a month ago? Tianjin Song, Rongshan, you have to understand one thing. Regaining your cultivation is not the same as rebuilding. Rongshan, so when Master speaks of protection, is it me protecting you, or you protecting me? Greek letter Omega? Zhang Huai heard this and did not refuse. Well, let's go. After Tianjin Song's affairs were over, the wars in other places were also showing a one-sided trend. Those wars provoked by Guangxing demons were all quickly suppressed by the helpers found by Longhu Mountain. On the battlefields of Longhu Mountain, Guangxing demons were like wheat facing a sickle, being easily harvested. Lu Jin used the Tongshan talisman, which transformed into a talisman turret. Various talismans turned into sickles that took lives, ruthlessly harvesting the lives of Guangxing personnel. After Zuo Ruotong found Yuan Tao, in Yuan Tao's unbelievable eyes, he directly killed Yuan Tao and Han Daner with a palm, completely ending the dispute between Yuan Tao and the Sanai sect. The old Xianxi's golden light spell turned into a golden wall that illuminated Longhu Mountain. The golden light turned into line, sweeping away all enemies with an invincible posture. Xiao Zizhe was like a beast out of a cage, hunting down the single Guangxing personnel everywhere, enjoying this buffet. Wu Tong and Zhang Jiulin turned into fishing guys with treasures, luring greedy people to come and surrender, and then dealing with a group of invading people. In addition, Xiao Yan, Hizai, Guruli, Bai Shuren and others were also scattered all over Longhu Mountain, fighting. But most people don't like killing very much, especially killing humans. So among the group members, only some people were helping to kill Quan Xing, and the rest were just healers, rescuing their own wounded. 2 hours later, with the end of the war on Longhu Mountain, everything was over. After the war, everyone gathered on the hillside behind Longhu Mountain to help deal with the aftermath. It's finally over. I've been out for a week. I have to go back quickly tomorrow. I hope my sister didn't find out that I was not in school. Gabriel released the healing light casually, and after healing a wounded, she said with a sad tone, "Don't worry, if your sister finds out, I will help you explain, and you are worthy of being Xiaojia. You are indeed the best graduate in the heaven. I knew that you would not ignore people in need." Vinit looked at Gabriel, who was working hard to treat the wounded, and praised sincerely. Gabriel couldn't help but touch the tip of his nose with a guilty conscience when he heard Vinit's praise, and then laughed dryly. Of course, I'm an angel, isn't it my job to help others? At this moment, what Vinit didn't know was that a bunch of various rescue rewards were piled up in Gabriel's storage ring, waiting for Gabriel to check. Pucci, on the side, Xiao Yan and others who had already known what happened couldn't help laughing when they heard what Gabriel said. Arnold? What's wrong? Is there something wrong with what we said? Brother Xiao Yan. Hearing Xiao Yan's laughter, Vinit looked at Xiao Yan with some confusion. Xiao Yan, who was stared at with a death gaze by Gabriel, naturally did not dare to tell the truth. He could only scratch his head and awkwardly change the subject. No problem, I suddenly thought of a joke just now, and I couldn't help but laughed out loud. Is that so? Vinit nodded when she heard this, and said no more. Chapter 312 Return to Douluo and Subsequent Placement. On the other side. Chu Lan, since the Luotian Dajio is over, we are about to leave. In the future, I'll have to trouble you to take care of my father-in-law's Xiangxiahu. Of course, if they do anything too much, you can just do it directly, don't give me face. Oh, by the way, this is for you, just as a reward for taking care of Xiangxiahu, and as compensation for cheating you some time ago. Wu Tong handed a ring to Zhang Jiulin, and told him what to do after he left. Brother Tong, what is our relationship? We are close friends and brothers. You didn't cheat me, you were clearly educating me with love, to let me gain experience. Zhang Jiulin, who had some complaints about being cheated some time ago, saw this, and his eyes lit up immediately, and he quickly reached out and took the ring handed over by Wu Tong. This is compensation from the big boss. There must be a lot of good things in it, don't miss it. Thinking of this, Zhang Jiulin instantly threw away the resentment in his heart. Resentment? What resentment? Where did he have any resentment? It was clearly the care from Brother Tong. He really liked Brother Tong's care. You kid. Seeing this, Wu Tong immediately shook his head with a frown. Zhang Jiulin was good in every way, but this unshakable skill made him a little difficult to resist. But Zhang Jiulin didn't care what Wu Tong was thinking. After taking the ring, he probed the key into it. After seeing the large small world that could accommodate living things, and the large pile of compensation given by Wu Tong in the center of the small world, Zhang Xulin was immediately happy. Then he ran to Wu Tong's side with a flattering face and pinched Wu Tong's shoulders diligently. Okay, if I say it's compensation, then it's compensation. I'm not so afraid to admit what I did. Wu Tong waved his hand to stop Zhang Xulin's massage, and then said, by the way, I forgot to tell you that in addition to the compensation for you, there are some aids for Yan Huang in the ring. I have already divided the things. There are 30 small world rings that can survive living things, as well as consumable resources such as resurrection coins, and copies of exercises. Since you have reached a cooperation with Yan Huang, you can give them to them when the time comes. There are not many things, just consider it my investment. Anyway, these things are nothing to me. After saying that, Wu Tong no longer paid attention to Zhang Xulin, who was stunned by this generous gift, and turned to walk down the mountain. The time to leave was approaching, and he still had to collect the people he was going to take away, but there was no time to waste. A few dozen minutes later, Wu Tong came to the town at the foot of the mountain. He called Susi and found where the group of people lived. But when Wu Tong arrived here, it was late at night and some people had already gone to bed. So Wu Tong thought about it and gave up the plan to collect people tonight. Instead, he found a hotel and stayed there for one night. The next day, Wu Tong got up early and went to the door early. He collected Xiao Zizhe and other talents who were about to be taken away, as well as teachers and teachers' families who were found by the country, into the imaginary space. Then he returned to Longwu Mountain and collected Feng Xian and Lu Qia together. Then, after saying goodbye to everyone, Wu Tong turned around and returned to Douluo Continent. In the Afterglow Canyon, Wu Tong's figure flashed and appeared again in the place where he disappeared. After returning, Wu Tong did not rush to return to the academy, but went straight to an open place. He had to arrange people first. At least tens of thousands of people, so many people. Fortunately they came back during the day today. If they came back at night, they would have to stay up all night. There are thousands of teachers alone, plus their relatives, tens of thousands, right? After arriving at the open space, Wu Tong did not waste time, and waved his hand to release the group of people he brought back. And with Wu Tong's call, this originally very empty square was crowded with people the next moment. Various teachers, teachers' families, Xiao Zizhe, Chen Duo, Liao Zhang, Ma Zianhong, the top 10 talents in Biao's village, Feng Xian, and Lu Qia all appeared here in a proper manner. After everyone came out, they all looked around with curiosity. Everyone wanted to take a closer look at what the difference was between this new world they came to and their original world. But after watching for a while, they were suddenly a little disappointed. This new world didn't look any different, and it seemed that the living conditions were not as good as their original world. So, after observing for a while, a group of people began to talk in a low voice. Is this the new world? It seems that apart from the better air and stronger ecology, there is no difference in other aspects. Yeah, it doesn't feel as good as our world. It's different from what the country says, isn't it? By the way, if you live here, is there air conditioning? I'm a little afraid of the cold. Tisk, are you an idiot? This is the Douluo realm, a world where you can become a god and live forever. Although the possibility of becoming a god is not great, even if you become a titled Douluo, you can live for hundreds of years longer. With such a good thing, what's wrong with a lower standard of living? If you don't like it, you can leave. No one is stopping you. Yes, not to mention that the academy we joined is the strongest force in this world. You know, if it were in our world, it would be equivalent to directly joining the world's #1 company. Sure enough, it was the right thing to do to take the teacher qualification certificate and choose to be a teacher. Woo. I finally made it. I wasted so much time after graduation because it was difficult to find a job with a major of Chinese language and literature. Unexpectedly, I finally found a job now. Wu Tong listened to the discussion of the crowd without saying anything. It was obvious that the people who came here had mixed first impressions of this world. However, everyone is different. It's normal. Everyone has their own preferences, and he can't force others to live according to his will, right? And although he recruited teachers with excellent character and good conduct who were selected by the state, but they are just teachers, and it doesn't mean that their family members are also excellent and well-behaved. Wu Tong had thought about something similar when he received the relatives of teachers. Chapter 313 Soul Guidance Technology Leads to Convenient Life. Because he had been mentally prepared, Wu Tong did not care about the discussions of these people. Moreover, what these people said was not wrong. They were not worried about big problems, but trivial things in life. As for these small problems, Wu Tong actually wanted to say, they actually thought too much. Although Douluo Continent is relatively backward, that is also the situation on Douluo Continent. But his academy is different. While he has the identity of the first person in the current soul guide technology, Wu Tong is also a typical lazy cancer patient. He was lazy and had transformed the academy to make his life more convenient. After all, if you have the ability to live a more comfortable and convenient life, why not go? Therefore, in Wu Tong's academy, soul guide technology has long been applied to all aspects of life. Soul guide lights ensure nightlife, energy gathering stove solve cooking problems, soul guide motorcycles solve travel problems, fully automatic climate control systems ensure that the climate within the academy is like spring all year round. Except for entertainment, life in the academy is almost the same as modern life, and some places even surpass it. Soul guidance technology, leading a convenient life. Of course, most of those who complained were teachers and their relatives who were recruited. All of them were ordinary people. The recruited aliens did not have such a hypocritical temperament. Moreover, they did not look at things superficially like ordinary people. For example, as a technology geek, Ma Xianhong was naturally the most curious. As soon as he came to this world, he could not help but explore it. As a result, he discovered the benefits of this world in a blink of an eye. The world has abundant energy. As a fantasy world, even the world of sewers has more abundant energy than their original world. Therefore, as soon as he discovered this situation, Ma Xianhong immediately shouted excitedly, "Why do I feel that the energy in the air of this world is so abundant? It seems that one day of cultivation here can be comparable to the effect of 10 days of cultivation in our world." After investigating clearly and finding that it was true, Ma Xianhong couldn't suppress the corners of his mouth. 1 day of cultivation is equivalent to 10 days in the original world. That doesn't mean that 1 year of cultivation can be comparable to 10 years in the original world. In this way, he can finally allocate more time to the Divine Machine 100 refinements. To be honest, if there is no key to activate the Divine Machine 100 refinements, he doesn't want to practice key at all. From a technology geek's obsession and persistence with technology, now it's good. In this world, not only is the speed of cultivation greatly accelerated, but also more new knowledge can be learned. Suddenly, Ma Xianhong felt that his decision to accept Wu Tong's invitation to come to this world was the most correct decision he made in his life. What? Chu Rang, Fu Rong, Jin Yuan, Bi Yuan and others were shocked when they heard Ma Xianhong's words. Then, they sat on the ground and meditated and practiced subconsciously. After a while, everyone opened their eyes one after another. Bi Yuan spoke first, with a shocked tone, "It's true. 1 day of cultivation can be comparable to the effect of 10 days of cultivation in our world. Does that mean that the feathered ascension will be achieved?" Hearing Bi Yuan's subconscious words, the others also looked stern, with expectations and desires in their expressions. Transcendence, ascend to heaven, become an immortal, which alien is not interested? This is the most anticipated thing and the ultimate goal of every alien when they first come into contact with cultivation. If they can ascend to heaven in this world, doesn't it mean that they can also achieve their dreams? At this time, Wu Tong smiled and stopped everyone's fantasy. "Okay, don't be shocked yet, I will do something big in a while, and then you will be surprised." After saying that, Wu Tong looked at the noisy group of teachers. After clapping his hands to quiet everyone down, Wu Tong smiled and said, "I understand your concerns. Don't worry about what you are worried about. I believe my academy will not let you down. You can take a look in a while. If you are not satisfied with anything, you can always tell the mayor, Old Carl, and we will make unified improvements later. Although other places in Douluo Continent are very backward, I can guarantee that the living conditions and convenience here are comparable to those in the modern world." After saying this, Wu Tong did not look at the surprised expressions of the crowd. Instead, he waved his hand and used the dimensional door to summon a large group of Valkyries from the academy and people from the town. After giving them a few instructions, then he turned to the crowd and said, "Next, I will arrange accommodation for everyone. I have already told them that the people I brought with me will lead everyone to find your future residence. Please follow the instructions and follow in order, Now you can separate. Teachers of each subject stand on the left, and relatives of teachers stand on the right. The Valkyrie teachers will lead the teachers to the college to set up teacher dormitories, distribute teaching materials and assign teaching classes. And explain to everyone what the work will be in a few days, and the people in the town will settle down in this town with the relatives of the teachers. Don't worry, there are not many people living in the town now, and many houses are vacant. Everyone can move in directly with their bags. The daily necessities in the house are all available. If you need to purchase anything, you can discuss it with others, and people will be arranged to purchase it later. By the way, if anyone is interested in opening a store, you can talk to the mayor yourself, and a store will be arranged for everyone in a while. Wu-Tong's heart, Chinese food, Chinese clothing, Chinese luxury goods, and craft products are all good things. It is worth introducing, and it is time for the people of Douluo world to see what historical heritage is. Moreover, the school will start in a few days. This is the first official opening of the school. During this period, please try not to conflict with others and show the good style of the school. Also, regarding the matter of cultivation, I believe everyone should be most concerned. But don't worry, everyone should listen to the arrangements of the guides, find accommodation, and settle down. Regarding the matter of cultivation, I will arrange for a cultivation instructor to come over and guide everyone one by one. After speaking, Wu-Tong signaled the people behind him to start working. Chapter 314, Arrangements for the Aliens. Afterwards, Wu-Tong ignored the crowd that was beginning to make a commotion. Instead, he led Ma Xianhong and others to walk towards the academy, walking on the way from the town to the academy. Wu-Tong led Ma Xianhong, Xiao Zizhe and others to walk slowly while discussing the arrangements for them. After some discussion, Wu-Tong and the others finally arranged the work for everyone according to their situations. Xiao Zizhe, usually as a security guard, accompanied Kevin, secretly as the dark side of the academy, was responsible for handling some dirty work that the academy was not convenient to handle. Liao Zhang, a management talent, and a serious personality, abided by the rules while not losing his gentle heart, so Wu-Tong arranged him to be the dean of teaching. Bi Yuan, a professional educator, decided to become a teacher of the key training course after discussing with Wu-Tong. Ma Xianhong and Xu Rang, technical talents, were arranged by Wu-Tong to work as library administrators to learn new technologies, collapse science, soul guide science, rune technology, and practice of 100 arts. After completing the training, he will go to work with scientists like Mebius to conduct technology research and development. Chen Duo, a Gu body saint child and a Gu technique genius, was arranged to learn knowledge so that he could use the power of Gu technique to a greater extent. Wu-Tong's expectation, 9-turn Gu immortal, Chen Duo, dressed in white, stood alone in front of countless enemies, and chanted loudly, "The cold wind blows in the valley." As for Liu Wuqian Liu Hongzhong, haha, 2 little brats, go to school. Sister Clear, who do you say is a little brat? Fu Rong, Jin Yuang, Zhang Kun, Zhang Xiaolong, Ding Zihun and Harry Chage, who seemed to be making up the numbers, were thrown into the academy by Wu-Tong as students. Wu-Tong, you said you graduated? But judging from the situation, your level is not enough. In this case, then repeat your studies. In this regard, Ma Xianhong expressed no objection, and perhaps even he thought that these guys should go for further studies. Laughs. Feng Shan, as a wife who loved herself, did not have any job assigned to her, but according to her pursuit of power, Wu-Tong arranged a position for her as a librarian. Library? No, it was a book collection pavilion. It classified and collected all the paper versions of Wu-Tong's knowledge, technology, national martial arts, key training, divine ring master, national martial arts, internal force martial arts, key and blood martial arts, and all kinds of academic knowledge. Lucia, this big guy was really difficult to arrange, and Wu-Tong originally planned to let her move freely. However, Lucia may have developed an interest in teachers, and finally took the initiative to apply to be a teacher. After arranging everyone, Wu-Tong planned to fulfill his original promise. Solve the troubles that he promised to recruit them a few days ago. When Wu-Tong said that he would fulfill his original promise, everyone was also happy, and they looked at him expectantly. Although everyone followed Wu-Tong here, they were still worried about whether Wu-Tong could solve their troubles, so when Wu-Tong said that he would solve the problem, they were so excited. Facing the expectant gazes of the crowd, Wu-Tong looked around. Then his eyes fell on Liu Wuqian Liu Hongzhong. Let's start with Liu Hongzhong. There was no other reason. It was just that Liu Wuka's eyes were too hot, and Wu Tong's scalp was numb. Wu Tong met Liu Wuka's gaze and said calmly, "In your world, there has been research on boys' life for a long time. Wang Zizhong, a national master of medicine, once said, the so-called boy's life is a kind of mutation of one's own soul or spirit, but most mutations are malignant and will devour the life of the subject at all times. In other words, the problem of boy's life is mainly a problem of the soul." When the people in Panyan Village heard Wu Tong's words, they all agreed with him. As companions, they naturally understood the problem of Liu Hongzhong and had discussed it before, and knew that what Wu Tong said was true. Yuan adjusted his glasses after hearing Wu Tong's words and said, "That's true. Do you have any solution for this situation, Wu Tong?" Wu Tong nodded and said, "There is a way, and there is more than one. This problem is not difficult for me at all." Hearing this, Liu Hongzhong was immediately excited. Liu Wuka's eyes were also red. Over the years, her brother's illness has always been a concern for her. She has been running around for this, and although she has not found a solution, she still has not given up. Now that there is finally hope, Liu Wuka can't help but cry with joy. Seeing this, Wu Tong smiled at Liu Wuka, and then continued, "This problem is very difficult for people in your world, but for me, it is not a problem at all. The simplest way is to awaken the martial soul directly." Hearing Wu Tong's words, Liu Wuka and Yuan were stunned. So simple? Wu Tong nodded to the incredulity of several people. Yes, it is that simple. The essence of the martial soul is actually the embodiment of part of the soul power. So you only need to awaken the martial soul, and then the soul will be changed to a certain extent. And this kind of change is mostly positive. Even if it is not positive, it will not cause harm to the human body. Regarding this point, I believe that as long as you have read Douluo, you will know it very well. Hearing this, Liu Wuka nodded in approval. Before coming to this world, she also read the original book and learned about the things in this world. Although she was ashamed of the double standards of the protagonist in the book, she also understood the basic situation of the world. According to the description in the book, the awakening of the martial soul is indeed mostly positive. Some mutant martial souls that are not positively awakened, such as Luo Sanpao, are also not harmful to the human body. In this case, the martial soul awakening that Wu Tong mentioned may really solve her brother's problem. Thinking about it, Liu Wuka's eyes became brighter and brighter. Wu Tong did not care about Liu Wuka's expression. After explaining his method, he expressed his own opinion. So, as long as the martial soul awakens, the fate of the sick boy can be changed, and Liu Hongzhong can become a normal person. After that, Wu Tong performed martial soul awakening for Liu Hongzhong on the spot in front of everyone. Sure enough, under the joyful eyes of everyone in Panyan Village, Liu Hongzhong got rid of the trouble of the boy's fate. So far, the patient Liu Hongzhong is done. After solving Liu Hongzhong's problem, Wu Tong turned his head and looked at Ma Zianhong, who is looking forward to it. Chapter 315 Wu Tong, how dare the Shurigod occupy Brother Zio's Shurigod position? There is already a way to die. Continued from the last chapter, Wu Tong casually took out a horse charm from the storage ring, threw it to Ma Zianhong and said, "As for your problem, it is easier to solve. Your amnesia is because the descendant of Shuangquan Hand has transformed your soul. Here, this thing is a horse charm, which has the power of recovery and can remove all negative external forces applied to the body. You just need to hold it hard, and your lost memory will come back." Shuangquan Hand? Hearing Wu Tong's words, Ma Zianhong was stunned, and then a flash of realization and pain flashed in her eyes. It turned out to be Shuangquan Hand? "Sister, my amnesia, is it related to you?" When others heard this, they also looked sideways. They didn't expect that Ma Zianhong's amnesia was caused by the descendant of Shuangquan Hand. But everyone was just surprised for a while, and didn't care too much. After all, Shuangquan Hand, 8 wonders and the like are no longer so important in this world with the possibility of ascension. What surprised them even more now is the horse charm in Wu Tong's hand. Octagonal stone, horsehide rune with purple dye, power of recovery. This familiar look is you? My childhood? After seeing the appearance of the horse charm in Wu Tong's hand, everyone's eyes lit up and guessed the origin of the horse charm. Among them, Lucio looked at the horse charm, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Power of recovery? Magic from another world? It can be activated with a light grip, which sounds like it is more convenient than recovery magic and time magic. I didn't expect that there would be such exquisite magic in other worlds. Sure enough, the world is so big that there are really all kinds of wonders. After Ma Xianhong was sad for a while, he broke free from the painful memories. Then, as if he had completely let go of something, without any hesitation, he reached out calmly to take the horse charm and squeezed it hard. In an instant, a white light flashed from the charm. Ma Xianhong's memories from childhood to adulthood instantly turned into countless memories, which poured into his mind. Caught off guard, Ma Xianhong fainted from the overwhelming amount of memories. Qiu Rang and others saw this and hurried forward to support Ma Xianhong, while casting doubtful eyes at Wu Tong. Seeing the looks of Qiu Rang and others, Wu Tong rolled his eyes, retracted the Mafu and said, "Because there are too many memories pouring in, the brain's protection mechanism is activated. It's just a coma, nothing serious." Hearing this, Qiu Rang and others were relieved. So far, Ma Xianhong's problem has been solved. After solving Ma Xianhong's problem, Wu Tong turned his head and looked at Xiao Zizhe. Just when everyone was guessing how Wu Tong would solve Xiao Zizhe's problem, Wu Tong just smiled apologetically at Xiao Zizhe, and then explained, "Brother Xiao, your problem will take some time. Although I have a way now, those plans will affect your potential. Wait for me for a while, and after a while, I will help you completely solve your problem." As for how to solve it? Of course, it's the sure God position. Xiao Zizhe, Buddha and devil are one, good and evil are separated. The most valuable thing is that he can restrain his killing intention with his will, and while killing, he also controls himself not to hurt innocent people. This situation completely meets the requirements of the sure God position and the God of law enforcement. The will to kill, with a scale in the heart, can enforce the law fairly. Isn't this sure God position tailor-made for Xiao Zizhe? Sure God, you are a person full of selfish desires. How dare you occupy Brother Xiao's God position, and dare to transfer it to others, Tang San, privately? You have already died. Funny. After a while, after solving the God realm, Wu Tong will transform the sure God position of the God realm and turn it into the sure Godhead of the Douluo realm. After that, he can help Xiao Zizhe solve the problem of killing. Xiao Zizhe didn't feel lost when he heard this, but just nodded quietly, indicating that he already knew. After solving the problems of these people, Wu Tong then turned his attention to his last patient Chen Duo. Looking at Chen Duo's green pupils, Wu Tong couldn't help but be a little absent-minded. Chen Duo, one of the biggest regrets in his heart when he first watched Under One Person. This girl's life can be said to be a tragedy from beginning to end. When she was young, she was selected by the Medicine Fairy Association of Maya Ojiang when she was just born. After a series of cruel transformations, she stood out among the 49 candidates. But in the end, she became a goo-body holy child who looked more like a goo than a person. After being rescued, because of the danger of the goo-body holy child, she was regarded as an extremely dangerous person by Tong. She was restricted and supervised in all aspects of food, clothing, housing and transportation, and she was never free. After she became an adult, she was taken in by Tong as a temporary worker and was responsible for killing people. She became a pair of black gloves in the hands of the company. What happened afterwards was even worse. She accidentally killed Lao Liao, defected from Panyan Village, and was hunted down by a gang of temporary workers. Even when she died, she was calculated by Zhang Chulin, the black-hearted guy. It can be said that Chen Duo's life, from birth to death, is a tragedy. Thinking of this, Wu Tong's eyes could not help but flash a trace of pity. Hey, little brother Wu Tong, what are you looking at? You are so absorbed in it. Just when Wu Tong was feeling sad, Lao Liao, Liao Zhang, saw Wu Tong staring at Chen Duo without saying anything, and he couldn't help but feel a little jealous. So Lao Liao walked to Wu Tong's side, put his arm around Wu Tong's neck, and asked faintly. When Wu Tong heard Lao Liao's words, he also came back to his senses. Feeling the huge force coming from Lao Liao's arm around his neck, Wu Tong couldn't help but smile bitterly in his heart. Is this how the old father values his own little cabbage? By the way, doesn't this Lao Liao think of me as Huang Mao? Thinking of this, Wu Tong glanced at Lao Liao's face. Sure enough, Wu Tong saw the scrutiny and vigilance revealed in it. Seeing this, Wu Tong was immediately puzzled. It's really true? By the way, don't I look like a good person? Depressed. After thinking about it, Wu Tong decided not to continue to provoke Lao Liao, lest his father get angry, so he prepared to change the subject. Didn't you see anything? I was just thinking about how to solve Chen Duo's physical problem, and I was a little absorbed in it." Facing Lao Liao's scrutinizing eyes, Wu Tong smiled as usual. Hearing this, Lao Liao glanced at Wu Tong and said, "Brother Wu Tong has been thinking about it for so long, I wonder if you have figured it out." Chapter 316, Choice. Chen Duo, a cultivator from the Gu world, participates. As the person in charge of a large region, Lao Liao would not be fooled by such a poor topic diversion. However, since Wu Tong had diverted the topic, he could not continue to ask, so Lao Liao could only continue Wu Tong's words. Although Lao Liao had changed the subject, he was still concerned about Wu Tong. "This kid, at first glance, is not a good person. It seems that I have to keep a close eye on him in the future." Purely prejudice, from the old father's desire to protect the cabbage and his hostility towards the pigs that dig the cabbage, Wu Tong said, "Of course I have thought of it. Now I have a few ideas, but Chen Duo needs to make the decision." "Really? Ha, that's great, Duoer, you are saved." Hearing the first half of the sentence, Lao Liao didn't care to continue to be vigilant against Wu Tong, the yellow-haired man. He was so excited that he cried and didn't even notice the second half of Wu Tong's sentence. Wu Tong didn't care either. With a little effort, he broke free from Lao Liao's arms. Afterwards, Wu Tong walked to the side of Chen Duo, looked at the ill-fated girl with pity, and gave his own solution. "Chen Duo, the problem of the Gu body saint child is nothing to me, but how to solve it specifically depends on your own wishes. I thought about it, and based on your situation, I decided to give you two choices. First, I will take action directly to completely erase the traces of the transformation of the Gu body saint child and restore you to a normal person. But the disadvantage of this approach is that your strength will be very little. After all, almost all of your strength is on the Gu. Second, I got a method of practicing Gu cultivation from other worlds some time ago, which is very suitable for you. You can directly switch to this method of practice. The advantage of this choice is that your strength will not regress because of this, and it may even greatly improve because the Gu cultivation system and the Gu body saint child are extremely compatible. Okay, make your choice now." The method of practicing Gu cultivation was drawn by Wu Tong by chance in the chat group some time ago. After getting this cultivation method, Wu Tong had his eyes on Chen Duo, a natural Gu cultivator. Wu Tong was naturally very happy to see a Gu fairy appear. After all, although the strength of Gu cultivators is not very good, the Gu worms of Gu cultivators are extremely functional. If Chen Duo chooses to become a Gu cultivator, she can definitely become a Gu fairy in the future by relying on the adaptability of the Gu body saint child and the Gu. In this way, Chen Duo will become a general under Wu Tong. Of course, if Chen Duo chooses to treat herself and become an ordinary person, Wu Tong also respects her ideas. As the saying goes, don't advise others to be good without experiencing their suffering. Even if Wu Tong doesn't understand the pain of the erosion of the original Gu, it has been clearly shown in the original plot. A living person was eventually eroded into a bloody corpse by the original Gu. I guess the torture of thousands of cuts in ancient times is not as painful as the pain on Chen Duo. Therefore, with pity for Chen Duo, no matter which one Chen Duo chooses, Wu Tong will respect her ideas. After all, the purpose of bringing Chen Duo here was not only not to waste talents, but also to resolve the unsatisfactory feelings in his heart. After hearing what Wu Tong said, the others, including Lao Liao, did not speak, and quietly waited for Chen Duo to make a choice. Before coming here, they had already known each other. Therefore, they had also analyzed Chen Duo, the pitiful little girl. In the end, they came to the same conclusion as Zhang Jiulin in the original book, Choice. What Chen Duo wanted most was to be able to make her own choice. Therefore, everyone was waiting for Chen Duo's answer at this moment. Chen Duo, who was being watched by Wu Tong, naturally did not know what others were thinking. At this moment, after hearing the choice given by Wu Tong, Chen Duo's eyes flickered. Choice? Can I make my own choice too? At this moment, Chen Duo faced the choice given by Wu Tong, and her mind was full of thoughts. The messy thoughts in her heart set off a wave of huge waves, as if to overturn her. Finally, after a period of ideological struggle, Chen Duo looked at Liao Zhang, and finally, as if he had made a great decision, he slowly said, I choose the second one. After that, Chen Duo seemed to have changed into a different person, with a strange kind of vitality. Seeing this, everyone showed a look of relief. Wu Tong also smiled and said, Okay, since you have made a choice, Then I will pass on the cultivation method of Guxiu to you." After that, Wu Tong waved his hand, and a jade talisman made of white jade suddenly appeared in Wu Tong's hand. After Wu Tong took a look at the jade talisman in his hand, he handed it to Chen Duo. In this jade talisman is the Guxiu cultivation system that Wu Tong had drawn in the lottery, from the first turn Guxiu to the 9th turn Guxian. Moreover, this jade talisman itself is made of the top Gu suppressing jade in the Gu world. It can not only pass on the knowledge of Guxiu, but also suppress the backlash of Gu insects, which is just suitable for Chen Duo to use. Seeing this, Chen Duo hesitated for a moment, and finally reached out to take the jade talisman handed over by Wu Tong. As soon as the jade talisman was in hand, Chen Duo felt countless information pouring into his mind from the jade talisman. After a closer look, he found that the information was exactly the knowledge of Gu cultivation that Wu Tong had mentioned. At the same time, a strange warm current flowed out from the jade talisman and merged into Chen Duo's body. At the moment when this warm current appeared, the Gu worms in his body, which were originally restless and always rebelling, suddenly became like mice seeing a cat and dared not move. "Feel it? Yes, thank you." Feeling the precious knowledge in his mind and the Gu worms that were motionless in his body at this moment, Chen Duo was deeply moved and said to Wu Tong seriously. Wu Tong naturally accepted Chen Duo's gratitude. "This jade talisman can suppress the poisonous insects in your body from attacking you. You must not take it off before you complete the introductory practice of the poisonous insects. Of course, it doesn't matter after you enter the first stage. At that time, you can transfer all the poisonous insects in your body into the empty cavity, so that your body can return to normal." "That's great, Duoer, you can finally live a normal life." At this time, Lao Liao on the side finally couldn't help it and said excitedly. "Well, thank you for taking care of you for so many years, Uncle Liao." After solving the problems of several people, Wu Tong took everyone to find a classroom, awakened the martial spirits for everyone, and gave everyone the practice methods of the Divine Ring Master. Chapter 317 Newcomer joins the group. The group leader is particularly unreliable. After all, this group of people will need to live in the Douluo realm in the future. How can they not even have a martial soul? After everyone awakened their martial souls, they followed the local customs. After Wu Tong awakened the martial souls for everyone, except Liu Hongzhong, everyone looked at their newly acquired martial souls and were overjoyed. Wu Tong looked at the newly added martial soul reserves in the database and naturally laughed as well. However, during the martial soul awakening this time, something unexpected happened to Wu Tong. That is, Xiao Ziz's murderous nature gradually became more controllable because of the awakening of the martial soul. This surprised Wu Tong and others, but this accident was a good thing, and Wu Tong and others were naturally happy to see it. After the martial soul awakening ceremony, Wu Tong took a group of people to wander around the college. While enjoying the scenery and understanding the structure of the college, he also introduced the college's buildings and affairs to them. At the same time, he also took everyone to find their future workplace and got work clothes and teaching materials from the logistics department. After everything was done, it was already noon. It was time for lunch, and Wu Tong took a group of people to the cafeteria to eat. Then he found some people, led them, and arranged accommodation for them. Then, Wu Tong, who had nothing to do, took Feng Xiaom back to his treehouse. After feeding his pet Shining Cracking Sky, he was affectionate with the girls and talked about his lovesickness for a while. Wu Tong slumped on the sofa with a lazy look on his face, and immersed his consciousness in the chat group. In the Dimension chat group. "Don't despise the poor youngsters. Hi, brothers, I'm home safely, don't worry. Hungry Dragon Roar, Ed 1. Cute King, Ed 1. Photographer, Ed 1. As soon as Wu Tong came in, he saw these guys turning into repeaters and brushing the screen. Seeing this, Wu Tong also joined in silently with interest. Seeker, Ed 1. Lazy Angel, Ad 1. I'll go, brothers, I want Marilla. Photographer, what happened? Why is it going to end so suddenly? Photographer, Greek letter sigma, Cyrillic letter dare. Lazy Angel, woohoo Lazy Angel, as soon as I came back, I saw the person I least wanted to see. Dragon King spraying water, your sister whom I least wanted to see? Lazy Angel, see. Dragon King spraying water, tisk tisk tisk, what a tragedy. Dragon King spraying water, I wish you good luck, Zia Ojia. Dragon King spraying water, may God bless you, Amen JPG. Cute King, there's nothing we can do about this kind of thing, except my condolences, Zaya Ojia. Don't bully the young and poor, 666, have a safe trip, Zaya Ojia. Lazy Angel, you guys are too disloyal, aren't you? Lazy Angel, hey sister, don't pull my ear before she finished speaking. Gabriel's avatar went dark. Seeing this, everyone immediately understood that Gabriel should have been taught a lesson by Jaya Erlu. In response, everyone expressed their condolences. However, it is unknown how many people here are praying sincerely and how many people are gloating. At this time, several unexpected nicknames appeared. Fanjin Yi, hello, seniors, I am reporting as a newbie, bubbling. Passerby, oh, how are you? Passerby? Dr. Oak, I didn't expect that there are really people in this chat group. Then why didn't anyone talk a few days ago? Dr. Oak, hello everyone. I am Dr. Oak from Pallet Town, and I am glad to meet you all. Cute King, oh my god, this is a newcomer? Don't bully the poor young man, newcomer. Red Kite Immortal, newcomer. Seeker, newcomer. Dragon King spraying water, newcomer. The appearance of the two messages immediately blew out all the diving fish. Buyao Bilion, he is really a new member? Buyao Bilion, that's not right? Group leader, why are you so shocked? Didn't you invite the new member? Dragon King spray water, oh, by the way, the invitation was updated a few days ago. Dragon King spray water, before going to Luo Ocean Dejio, I seem to have sent out the invitation. Dragon King spray water, after a few days, no one joined. So I thought this time was wasted, so I went to the alien world first. Dragon King spray water, then I was entangled in Luotian Dejao and Quanzing's attack on the mountain, and I forgot about the invitation. Dragon King spray water, he photographer, group leader, you are too unreliable, right? You can forget such an important thing? Seeker, forget it, we are also responsible for this matter. Seeker, if it weren't for the fact that everyone was together these days and hardly logged into the chat group, I might have discovered that there was a new member. A trace of helplessness flashed in Wu Tong's eyes, and then he began to respond to Professor Oak. After all, he had been left alone for several days. If he didn't reply quickly, it would be a bit impolite. Seeker, hello, Professor Oak. We had something to do a few days ago and went to other worlds. We didn't notice the arrival of the newcomers. Here, I would like to apologize to you on behalf of the group members. Seeker, however, according to what Professor Oak said, you have joined the chat group for a few days. Seeker, in this case, I guess Professor Oak, you should have figured out the chat group, right? Professor Oak, yes, I have understood it. In the Pallet Town Research Institute. Professor Oak held a cup of instant noodles in his hand, took a sip, and answered Wu Tong's questions. But when it comes to this topic, Professor Oak couldn't help but sigh. Professor Oak, however, it is really unexpected that there are other worlds besides the elf world, and they are not the worlds created by Arceus. Dr. Oak, sure enough, there is a saying that is right, the world is so big, there are really all kinds of wonders. Dr. Oak, it seems that other worlds are so exciting. It is possible to have power comparable to or even surpass the elves through some kind of practice. Dr. Oak, it is incredible. Dr. Oak glanced at the elves playing in his backyard, and thought of the monks who picked stars and moons, moved mountains and filled the sea described in the group file, and couldn't help but sighed. Seeker, haha, you just get used to this kind of thing. There are so many strange things in the endless universe of the world. Buyao Bilion, yes, and your world, Dr. Oak, is also very enviable. The friendship between elves and humans has made many of us yearn for it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318 Blackened Spider-Man, I need to dance, pick up girls, and get a pay raise. Buyao Bilion, to be honest, I still want to have a Pokemon partner until now. Seeker, okay, let's talk about Pokemon later. Anyway, Professor Oak has joined the chat group, and everyone can visit each other in the future. Seeker, it's only a matter of time before everyone has a Pokemon. Seeker, let me introduce myself first. Seeker, Let me make an example. Hello, new members. I am Wu Tong, a group member, and a time traveler from the Douluo realm. Dragon King spraying water. Hello, new members. I am Guruli, the group leader of this group. From Buyao Bilian, I am Zhang Julin. From Qianxixianyu, hello, everyone, I am Zhongli. From as soon as Wu Tong started, others also began to introduce themselves. After Wu Tong finished introducing himself, he did not pay attention to the communication of the others, but skillfully opened the group member list. Prepare to see the new members this time, and a few more have been added. As expected, 4 new avatars appeared in the member list. Wu Tong looked at the 4 new avatars, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. So, has the group owner changed his luck? 4 of the 5 invitations were successful this time. Isn't that a bit too much for her luck? Yang Shou's card draw is not good. After silently complaining about Guruli's luck in his heart, Wu Tong concentrated again and looked at the group nicknames of the 4 new members. Professor Oak, Fanjin Yi, Bully Spider, and Cup. Wu Tong carefully observed the 4 people's avatars, thought for a moment in his mind, and after combining the information in the database, he quickly recalled the origins of the newcomers. Professor Oak, formerly known as Oak Zucheng, and like Wu Tong's shining crazy Sky City, he came from the Pokemon world. He is a Pokemon doctor who settled in Pallet Town, but according to some background stories in the plot, this Professor Oak should still be a very powerful Pokemon trainer. He has a generous and cheerful personality, and is kind to others. Generally speaking, he is easy to get along with. After labeling Professor Oak as a person who is easy to get along with, Wu Tong turned to look at the next avatar. The second work in the trilogy of Mortal Yi-Hei, and Red Hair, the protagonist of the Heaven Shading. After seeing Yi-Hei's message, Wu Tong's eyes lit up. This is a big man, a great man on the future path of sacrifice. According to the classification of the chat group, he is at least at the 10th level, and half a step can enter the 11th level. He is a real big man. Although it seems that he is still a newbie who has not entered the path of cultivation, just a big man in the future, his potential is still immeasurable. Besides, once you get certified, you will get certified forever. For Yi-Hei, who has already set foot on the path of sacrifice in the future and can return to different time points at any time. Is it really important whether he has set foot on the path of cultivation at the current time? Wu Tong looked at Yi-Hei's avatar and silently labeled him as a big man in his heart. Then, Wu Tong looked at the remaining 2 people. Bully Spider. When Wu Tong saw the nickname of this group, he thought it was the Spider Robot in Iron Man. But unexpectedly, it was Peter Parker, the failed man, in Marvel. And looking at the avatar, it is the most classic first-generation version. But Bully Spider? The avatar is black? It seems that he has turned evil. Wu Tong shrugged, glanced at Peter's avatar, and then moved his eyes to the next group member. Wu Tong did not have any thoughts of defense against this evil Spider-Man. If it was another evil person who joined, Wu Tong might still worry that this person would make the friendly and harmonious atmosphere in the chat group worse or something. But if it was Peter Parker, it didn't matter. As for why? Of course, it's because he is kind. Ho, this is not a joke, but Wu Tong really thinks so. After all, the first thing others do after turning evil is, I want to destroy the world, kill people like crazy, and avenge my enemies. What about our little spider after he turns evil? I want to dance, pick up girls, and ask for a raise. The most vicious verbal attack he can even think of is, I want to sprinkle some dust in his eyes. Ho, let me tell you a joke, Spider-Man's version of blackening. Ho, this kind of blackened person is probably kinder than many kind people, right? Then please tell him, is it really necessary to be on guard? There is absolutely no need. And the last one, tragedy? No impression at all. Wu Tong carefully flipped through the information in his mind and found that he had no impression of this person. This made Wu Tong curious. Who is this so-called tragedy? No impression? How about asking other people? With this thought in mind, Wu Tong turned back to the chat group. In the Dimension chat group, Fanjin Yi, Xiao Yan, Zhongli, Katoashi, Fanjin Yi, oh my god, it's true, I didn't expect that people in novels and games would actually exist. Fanjin Yi, is this the charm of the endless void and the dimension of the heavens? Yi-Hei took his phone and silently glanced at the game character Zhongli he was controlling. He then looked at the Zhongli in the chat group, who was nicknamed Shenshi Xian'Iao, and couldn't help but sigh. He joined the chat group a few days ago. When he saw the black card that couldn't be thrown away, he thought he had seen a ghost. So after joining the chat group, he didn't speak for a long time out of caution. However, after observing for a while, he found that almost no one in the group spoke. Everyone went to the alien world to participate in the Luotian Dagio. Only then did he feel relieved and explored the functions of the chat group. After reading the information in the group file, Yihei learned about the information of the chat group and other group members, and then he breathed a sigh of relief. He realized that he was not encountering a ghost, but a great opportunity. But even so, when the group members were chatting today, he did a lot of psychological preparation before joining in. Yishiandi's caution JPG, Buyao Bilion? A leaf from the mortal world? Buyao Bilion, this nickname sounds familiar, let me check it out. Buyao Bilion, what the hell? Oh my god. Buyao Bilion, is this true? Buyao Bilion, Yishiandi from the mortal leaf covering the sky. Zhang Yulin felt that Yihei's group nickname was familiar, so he checked it on his phone and exclaimed. Chapter 319. When Yihei learned his own story. Mortal leaf, Yishiandi? Brother Chulan, are you talking about me? Buyao Bilion, Brother Yihei, you don't know yet? Well, there is a novel called Zhejian in the group file, you can go and take a look and you will understand. Buyao Bilion, of course, if you have time, you can also take a look at the two books Perfect World and God's Ruins. Mortal leaf, huh? I see, I didn't expect that I was also a character in the book. Mortal leaf, haha, this really surprised me, but thank you Brother Chulan for telling me. Yihei was not stupid. He was stunned when he heard Zhang Chulan's words, and then he reacted. Judging from what Zhang Chulan meant, he should also be a character in a novel. This situation reminded him of a description in an article he had read. Broken chapter, you stand on the bridge and look at the scenery, and the people who look at the scenery look at you from the upstairs. This is interesting, Yihei sighed with a dazed look, and then chuckled and said, in that case, let me take a look at those stories about me. After saying that, Yihei transferred his consciousness to the group files. Because there were too many group files in the original, Yihei did not choose to read them all when he read the files. Instead, after reading the group introduction and group member information, he studied the chat group function and did not read the group files again. Therefore, Yihei did not know that there would be his stories in those files. However, Yihei was still looking forward to his future. Yishiandi, he sounds very handsome. It seems that his future is not simple. While thinking, Yihei silently opened the novel Zishan. Buyao Bilion, my god, this is Yishiandi who will be able to step into the sacrificial road in the future. Today I finally see the real person. Buyao Bilion, but speaking of it, is it true that the more potential there is, the easier it is to accept invitations? Seeker, this is not a question of potential, but a question of whether the person being invited is willing to accept. Wasn't there a Yishiandi who didn't accept at the beginning? His potential is not bad. Seeker, if he accepts, he will also become a member of the chat group, but he just doesn't want to accept. What can we do? Seeker, so, potential is not a necessary condition for joining the chat group. If you want to join the chat group, people's willingness and luck are the decisive factors. Buyao Bilion, there's also luck? Buyao Bilion, oh, that's right. In the endless void, the probability of receiving one of the 5 invitations is much higher than that of finding a needle in a haystack. Buyao Bilion, but although the probability is small, there are people who can get it. From this point of view, luck can indeed be regarded as a decisive factor in being able to enter the chat group. Buyao Bilion, if you put it this way, I can probably be called a lucky person. Ho Dragon King Springwater, tisk just you? Come on. Buyao Bilion, Death Stare JPG. Dragon King Springwater, ahem, Yihei is still in the stage where the plot has not yet begun. Not to mention being above the way of sacrifice, even the position of the Emperor of Heaven is still a long way off. Dragon King Springwater, since Yihei has gone to read books, let's pay attention to other newcomers first. Dragon King Springwater, speaking of which, my luck this time is quite good. I actually invited 4 people with 5 invitations. Dragon King Springwater. Dragon King Springwater, at Cup at Evil Bully Spider, come out to water the group. Not shaking Green Lotus, Zhang Yulin looked at the message sent by Guru Li, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. I thought she knew a lot about novels. I didn't expect that she was actually a fan of the Clouds of the Heaven Shading trilogy. As for how he guessed it? Nonsense. The great power above the way of sacrifice, which red-haired fan who has read the book doesn't know? Things like time and cause and effect are nothing to their kind of existence. As long as they are willing, what they are facing now is not the newbie Yihei, but the peak Yihei above the way of sacrifice. But forget it, there is no point in arguing with the group leader. After all, even if the future Yihei, after transcending everything, did not interfere much with his past. In this way, the group leader said that Yihei was a newbie with unlimited potential, which was actually not wrong. After all, if the big boss behind him did not support him, then he could only fight on his own. Well, that's it. Next, let's take a look at the other new group members. We can't favor one over the other. Zhang Qiulin shook his head, throwing away the idea of continuing to argue with the group leader, and moved his eyes to the chat interface, waiting for the newcomers to speak. Others were also looking forward to it, waiting for the newcomers to speak. However, after waiting for a long time, no one saw the two new members speak. Marvel. The first generation of Spider-Man Independent Universe refers to the Spider-Man universe with Spider-Man as the protagonist, not including people like Iron Man, in an old bell tower. A series of melodious and transparent bells slowly rose. Rising with it, there were strange and panicked roars from the pavilion. Hiss, hiss, roar, roar. Let's move the picture inside. A young man with black silk threads all over his body, like an unknown creature, is madly hitting the bronze bell beside him. Every time he hits the bell will make a melodious sound. And the black silk threads on his body seem to have suffered a great trauma, and they let out a shrill wail like a living thing, struggling and roaring. When you see this scene, everything is self-evident. This scene is the plot stage of the first-generation Spider-Man getting rid of the control of the symbiote venom. So the current situation is very obvious. Our failed man is snatching control of his body from the symbiote. So he has no time to pay attention to the situation in the chat group, and he didn't hear the group owner's tag, female multiverse. In a small urban world, a man who was electrocuted and his body was black and his life was weak, was lying quietly on an ordinary bed. If it weren't for the electrocardiogram next to him, which was always fluctuating, he might have been considered dead by the hospital staff. But even so, his half-dead appearance is no different from death. This man is the newcomer in the chat group, nicknamed Jibachin. Originally, he was just a traveler who had just traveled to the parallel universe of the Earth, but before he could react, he was kidnapped by a little fairy system and abducted to this female frequency world. Then, under the coercion of this little fairy system, he became a dog to the heroine of this world, Liu Ruyan. Chapter 320, The Tragedy of the Male Protagonist in the Female-Oriented Abuse Story. Jibachin. P.S. I have been seeing stories about abusing the main character on Kuaishou recently, and the readers are furious, so I want to write some to have some fun. Absolutely decisive. Kill, kill, kill. At first, Jibachin refused to agree, but under the threat of electric shock from the fairy system and the threat that he would not be allowed to return to the original world if he did not agree, Jibachin was forced to swallow his anger and became Liu Ruyan's unidentified licking dog for 12 years. The subsequent development is no different from the bloody plot on the female frequency abusive main characters. Under the coercion of the fairy system, Jibachin licked Liu Ruyan for 12 years, and finally had to endure the nausea and marry Liu Ruyan and have children. However, although the two finally became husband and wife, Jibachin had no feelings for his wife and daughter. On the contrary, he was still filled with overwhelming hatred for Liu Ruyan and his daughter. Because in the process of carrying out his mission, the fairy system had colluded with Liu Ruyan and their daughter. During his mission, he was insulted, made difficult, abused, and wrongly beaten. He was not treated as a human being at all. As a result, he was injured at a young age. However, although he had to endure all kinds of difficulties and abuse from Liu Ruyan and his daughter, Jibachin finally completed all the tasks of the system with difficulty with his desire to go home. But when he returned, this little fairy system broke its promise and wanted to prevent Jibachin from returning to his world on the grounds that Jibachin's daughter still needed her father. Can Jibachin agree? Of course not. You know, Liu Ruyan and his daughter have always wanted him to die, and then make room for Liu Ruyan's white moonlight. In this case, why did he stay? Stay and wait to be killed by a few people in the future? After all, who doesn't know the nature of female frequency? He is a third party inserted between two people who are running towards each other, and the final result is most likely death. If his final result is like this, then what was his patience for? Are you sick in the head and looking for trouble? Therefore, Jibachin, who felt that he had completed the task and the system could not do anything to him, did not indulge the fairy system at all and directly spoke back. As a result, this resistance made the fairy system unhappy, and immediately gave Jibachin an electric shock package, ready to electrocute Jibachin directly. However, just when the fairy system was halfway to take action, Jibachin received an invitation letter from the chat group. Afterwards, Jibachin, who was half dead from the electric shock, suddenly agreed to the invitation of the chat group as if he had grabbed a life-saving straw and joined the dimensional chat group. As Jibachin joined the chat group directly suppressed the fairy system that was abusing Jibachin in order to protect the interests of the host. However, even so, Jibachin was also electrocuted half to death and fell into coma. He has not woken up until today. Therefore, Jibachin, who is in a coma, did not receive the group owner's tag in his mind. Everyone waited for a long time, but the bully spider and the cup still did not speak. The Dragon King sprayed water. Well, it seems that they must be busy, so let's not disturb them. It's not too late to get to know them later. Seeing this, Guruli smiled awkwardly. Chenchi Xian'ao, from a universal rational point of view, what the group leader said makes sense. If others are busy, it is indeed inconvenient to disturb them. Seeker, let me interrupt. Seeker, by the way, does anyone know which world Biju is from? Seeker, why don't I seem to have much impression of him? The Dragon King sprayed water. Yes, among the 4 people, 3 are known to everyone. The Dragon King sprayed water. Fanshin Yi is Yuhei who covers the sky. Professor Oak is Professor Oak from the Pokemon world, and Bully Spider is the blackened Spider-Man. The Dragon King sprayed water. However, I really haven't heard much about Biju. Meng Wang, could he be a passerby, or a character in a book that we haven't read? Seeker, if he is a passerby, it should be impossible, right? Seeker, don't forget, if you want to join the chat group, you must be a person with great luck. People with such luck are unlikely to be passersby, right? Dragon King spraying water. Okay, then everyone wait a moment, I'll check it online. Before Guruli finished speaking, Hizai spoke. Xianji King, no need to check. Based on the nickname information and the appearance of the group avatar, I have found it on the novel website on Earth. Dragon King spraying water, so fast. Dragon King spraying water, but every time I hear that Xianji King went to Earth to read novels, I always have a feeling that it is both outrageous and reasonable. I don't know what's going on. Lazy Angel, it's normal. This is Pipixie. What serious things can she do? What's so strange about this kind of thing? Aren't everyone used to it? Dragon King spraying water. You are right. Xianji King, you 2 little guys, are you plotting against me behind my back again? Xianji King, Death Stare JPG. Dragon King sprays water and Lazy Angel, holding his head with both hands and trembling JPG. Seeker, okay, Sister Hexy, let's talk about the new members first. Xianji King, haha, Brother Wu-Tong is really sweet and knows how to make people happy. When Hexy saw Wu-Tong's address, she immediately smiled and continued to send messages. She completely ignored Keisha, who was watching the daily life of the chat group with her, and showed a pair of disgusted eyes. This girlfriend who likes to pretend to be young? I'm afraid I can't have her. Xianji King, well, since Brother Wu-Tong has spoken, Sister must give you a face. Everyone, seeing this scene, everyone couldn't help but have a thought in their hearts, that is, why is the old woman so happy to act like a virgin? The dividing line of Hexy's explanation. Seeker, so that's it, it's a female-oriented article. Seeker, no wonder I don't remember it, I haven't read female-oriented articles. Dragon King sprays water. Alice, what a poor man. Dragon King spraying water. Even a woman of the same gender like me can't stand what Liu Ruyan did. Photographer, that's not right, aren't they all said that time travelers are all crazy and awesome guys? Photographer, but why is Jibachin so miserable? Xianji King, because he is the male protagonist of a female-oriented story about abusing the protagonist. Don't shake the blue lotus. Actually, if it's just the male protagonist of a story about abusing the protagonist, then it wouldn't be so miserable. Don't shake the blue lotus. The reason why Jibachin is so miserable is entirely because of the little fairy system. Don't shake the blue lotus, but then again, no matter what kind of little fairy it is, they are all equally amazing. Chapter 321 Group Mission, Rescue, Generous rewards. Buyao Bilion, especially the little fairy who has the ability of the person is simply amazing. Mo Qi Xiaonian Kaiong, up, after thinking about it carefully, it seems to be true. Mo Qi Xiaonian Kaiong, I have only heard that the plots of female-oriented novels are very against the sky, and I have not read those novels. Mo Qi Xiaonian Kaiong, but now that I see it, my decision not to read female-oriented novels is indeed correct. Mo Qi Xiaonian Kaiong, otherwise, my 3 views would probably have been polluted. Mo Qi Xiaonian Kaiong, there is a lingering fear JPG. Seeker, I agree with it very much. Alice, I just don't know what time point this Jibochin is in now. Seeker, if it's in the early stage, it's okay, but if it's in the later stage, then the injuries this kid has suffered. Alice. Dragon King spraying water. Alice. Buyao Bilion. Alice, I hope it won't be in the later stage. Zhang Qiulin sighed, and also expressed the expectations of everyone. After all, the people in the group get along well, just like family. He likes this atmosphere very much. As Jibochin is now a member of the group, Zhang Qiulin naturally hopes that he can suffer less. Passerby, forget it, it's useless to say these now. We will know after he comes online in a while. Passerby, anyway, no matter what, we have to help him. After all, we will be friends in the group in the future. Don't bully the poor young man, Alice, that's the only way. Xiao Yan also sighed. After all, if Jibochin doesn't go online and doesn't talk, they can't do anything. After all, they can't directly cross into his world without the other party's consent. Xiao Yan just had this idea. The next moment, the chat group issued a task. Group Assistant, it has been detected that the group member Tiju is in critical condition. The task has been issued. Please check it yourself. Group Assistant, please note that this group member is a bounty officer of the Space-Time Administration. After completing the rescue mission, he will receive the group task reward and the bounty reward of the Space-Time Administration. Seeker? Cute King, is there still a task function in the group? Xianji Wang, it seems, probably, it seems that there is. Passerby, there is indeed this function, but I have never used it and I almost forgot about it. Photographer, haha, there is no task, which means that our world is safe and sound, isn't that a good thing? Passerby, that's true, there are already enough troubles in my daily life. If I have to have a task every day, I will definitely die. Dragon King spraying water, my god, this is the first task? It's worth remembering. Dragon King spraying water, take a screenshot quickly JPG. Seeker, no, how did Jibochin get on the Space-Time Administration's bounty list? Did he violate the heavenly rules? When Wu Tong saw the Space-Time Administration, he immediately tensed up and sat up from the sofa. He ignored the puzzled looks of the girls around him. Wu Tong looked at the message sent by the group assistant with a look of surprise. Space-Time Administration, it's only been a few months, and I heard this name again. Don't bully the poor young man. Why do I feel that Brother Tong is a little excited after hearing about the Space-Time Administration? Xianji Wang, you are not wrong. Wu Tong reacted so strongly when he heard the name of the Space-Time Administration. Xianji Wang. Because Wu Tong was created by the Space-Time Administration to travel through time. Mo Qi Xiaonian Kaiong, this created is not what I thought, right? Dragon King spray water, what do you think? Funny, Mo Qi Xiaonian Kaiong, okay, I got it. Seeing Guruli's message, Xiao Yan's face suddenly showed a knowing smile. I didn't expect it. I used to think that things like truck kings, muck trucks, and mud trucks would send people through time, which was a joke. I didn't expect it to be true, and there was a victim in the group. This also made Xiao Yan sigh. Sure enough, before the result of a thing is confirmed, it is better not to define it first. Seeker, there is no need to turn over this old account, right? Dragon King spray water, well, but your crossing situation is indeed very classic. Seeker, classic head, is your attention in the wrong place? Is it time to talk about this now? Seeing that the attention of several people had shifted from the new members to himself, Wu Tong suddenly felt helpless. Although he didn't care about his embarrassing stories being exposed, the newcomers couldn't wait. So Wu Tong quickly called up the group task interface, took a screenshot and sent it to the group, hoping to shift everyone's attention to the task. Seeker, chat group rescue task screenshot JPG. Seeker, Time and Space Administration bounty task screenshot JPG. Seeker, okay, Okay, what's there to say about my business? These are all old things. Now let's focus on the new group members. Photographer, wow, is this the task? Dragon King spraying water, let me see, what is this task about? Sky King, interesting as Wu Tong expected, after these two screenshots were sent out. The people who were originally interested in his time travel history were immediately attracted by the first task of this chat group. Seeing this, Wu Tong also breathed a sigh of relief. This group of guys finally got back to the point. Then, Wu Tong also turned his attention to the task screenshots. Just now, in order to shift the topic back, he directly found the task panel, and then took a screenshot and sent it, without having time to observe it carefully. Chat group task, rescue the new member cup in the group, task type, rescue task. Task details, the new member cup in the chat group. Because he was attacked by an unknown system when joining the chat group, he has now fallen into coma and is in critical condition. Please go to his world and help him. Task requirements, rescue the group member cup and ensure his personal safety. Note, this task is optional, and group members can choose whether to participate. The number of people is limited to 3, task time limit, 3 days. Note, when executing the task, the time of the plane where the group members are located is frozen. Please do not worry. Task reward, 1 special lottery, 1 million group points, Space Administration Bureau task, task type, rescue task and bounty task. Task details, the traverser Jibachin who was originally scheduled to be teleported to the parallel world of the Earth, after the successful traversal, has not yet issued the gold finger. He was suddenly kidnapped by an unknown system and traveled to a certain world against his will. It is now detected that Jibachin is in critical condition, but due to the lack of manpower in our company, we are unable to provide him with assistance. Now I entrust you to go to that world and lend a hand to him. Mission requirements. Rescue Jibachin and ensure his personal safety. Chapter 322, Remedial Measures of the Space-Time Administration. Mission time limit, 3 days. The bounty seeker is in critical condition, please leave as soon as possible. Mission reward, tailor-made mission rewards according to your needs. Note, rest assured, the rewards from the Space-Time Administration are absolutely generous. After reading the 2 missions, Wu Tong stroked his chin and immediately understood why Jibachin was related to the Space-Time Administration. In short, it was Jibachin. The Space-Time Administration originally planned to send him to a parallel world of the Earth as the protagonist. As a result, when he was just sent there, he didn't even have time to deliver the golden finger. He was kidnapped by the fairy system and sent to the female frequency abuse story. Later, he suffered 12 years of harm. In other words, everything that Jibachin experienced was completely caused by the negligence of the Space-Time Administration. So now that Jibachin is in critical condition, the Space-Time Administration will impose a bounty rescue mission, wanting people in the chat group to help rescue Jibachin. After sorting it out, Wu Tong had 10,000 complaints in his heart, and he wanted to pour them out. Wu Tong, is it the negligence of the Space-Time Administration again? Why do you always have problems? I last time, and Jibachin this time. I wonder if there will be more problems in the future. After he made a mistake in his previous time travel and received compensation, Wu Tong had a vague guess in his mind. Today, after Jibachin, who is also a time traveler, received compensation from the administration again, Wu Tong confirmed this guess. Wu Tong estimated that people like them who were chosen to be time travelers must have a big backer behind them. Zooxing Earth. Yes, it's me. This backer is something that even the Space-Time Administration cannot afford to fend. Therefore, time travelers like them who made a mistake in their time travel will definitely receive a compensation as hush money in the future. Otherwise, once the backer knows about their experience, they may cause trouble for the Space-Time Administration. However, not everyone is willing to accept this hush money. At the very least, Jibachin, who traveled to the story of the abused protagonist because of the mistake of the Space-Time Administration, will definitely not accept the hush money this time. Therefore, Wu Tong guessed the fundamental reason why the people of the Space-Time Administration did not personally help Jibachin. The lack of manpower is fake, and the fear of being sued is the real reason. Right, once the people of the Space-Time Administration come into contact with Jibachin, they will leave a mark on their bodies, which can be easily sensed by the Earth. After the Earth detects this mark, it is possible to use this mark to learn about the experiences of the travelers. Once the Earth knows that the talents he sent out have been so abused, it will definitely be furious, and it may even affect the relationship between the Spacetime Administration and the ancestral planet Earth. Although this possibility is very small, it is not impossible, and they dare not gamble. Therefore, for travelers caused by operational errors, the Spacetime Administration mostly uses other forces or characters to compensate them, and generally does not go there in person. P.S. This is the supplier of most travelers in the heavens. The face of the Earth. As for the so-called lack of manpower in the mouth of the Spacetime Administration, Wu Tong said, he believes you, the Spacetime Administration will be short of manpower? Are you kidding me? Dragon King spraying water, was he electrocuted when accepting the invitation? Dragon King spraying water, this time note is Alice. Photographer, Group leader, what's wrong at this time? Why did you suddenly sigh? Xianji King, little Sanayu, you Xianji King, oh, forget it. I looked at Senayuki's speech and sighed faintly. This girl, I'm afraid she will have to pay people even if she is sold? What should I do in the future? Dragon King spraying water, little Sanayu, it's time for you to use your smart brain, right? Guruli couldn't help but complain, and then she started to explain without waiting for Senayuki to ask questions. Dragon King spraying water, in the plot, when the system is electrocuted, it will increase the power as appropriate according to Jibajin's physical condition, which will only make Jibajin feel pain, and has never knocked him out. Dragon King spraying water, Jibajin was electrocuted to the point of coma. This level of electric shock only appeared once in the original plot. The Dragon King sprayed water, which was the plot at the end of the later period, when the ferry system was ready to kill people and destroy the bridge after crossing the river. Seeker, in the original plot, Jibajin was directly electrocuted to death, but now he was just electrocuted. Xianji Wang, it seems that when the electric shock was halfway through, the chat group took action to suppress the system. In a few words, several people analyzed the whole thing. Photographer, doesn't that mean that Jibajin has experienced all the abuses? Sanayuki heard the analysis of everyone and his smile disappeared immediately. Photographer, so pitiful. Seeker, okay, since the matter is clear, let's talk about other things later. Seeker, let's choose the people who will perform the task first. After all, according to the task description, the injuries of the new members can't wait. Photographer, but there are only 3 positions for this mission. In addition to the tragedy who was rescued, there are still 14 people in our group. How should we distribute them? Dragon King sprays water, of course I will grab it. As soon as the voice fell, Guruli immediately opened the task panel and prepared to sign up first. But when she opened the task panel, she found that the 3 candidates for the task had already been signed up in advance. And the 3 people who got the task were Seeker, Cute King, and Xianji King. Dragon King sprays water, damn, you 3 guys are unethical and actually sneaked in early at Xianji King at Cute King at Seeker. Seeker, sorry, everyone, I am a little interested in that system, so I took the lead this time. Seeker, by the way, remember to speed up your hands next time at Dragon King sprays water. Cute King, add 1. Xianji King, also add 1. Dragon King sprays water, what else can she do? Guruli said, they have reasons for wanting reasons, and they have also grabbed the quota. What else can she do? She can only admit that she is unlucky. But what puzzled Guruli was that Wu Tong and the others actually became interested in the system. Do they have a way to deal with the system now? Thinking of this, Guruli was about to ask, but someone else spoke first. Buyao Bilion. Brother Tong, are you all confident that you can deal with this system, which is like a plugin? Seeker, do you have any misunderstandings about me? Chapter 323, Departure and Arrival at the Female World. Seeker, after all, I am now the master of a world, although my strength as the master of this world is not strong and looks a bit weak. Seeker, but in terms of status, I am no different from the real master of the world. Seeker, if it is those powerful systems, I dare not guarantee that I can definitely take them down, but for those weak systems, isn't it a matter of taking them down with ease? Seeker, especially for the fairy system, this kind of useless system that only dares to cause trouble within the world and has no ability, for me, it can be said to be a piece of cake. Cute King, well, actually, I am not sure. Cute King, this time I signed up, I just wanted to try it out and see if I can analyze the system. After all, there is no harm in trying. Cute King, besides, even if I fail this time, it doesn't matter. As long as I can analyze something from the system, I will make a lot of money on this mission. Cute King, but after Wu Tong said that, I suddenly have a hunch that I will definitely be able to analyze the system this time. Xianji Wang, me too. I was planning to go over and see if I could analyze the system. After all, this thing is so rare. Xianji Wang, if I don't try it this time, it would be a bit of a pity. Xianji Wang, but now it seems that with Wu Tong, we can probably get this system this time. When everyone heard this, the slight fear that had quietly risen in their hearts after being stolen gradually dissipated. After all, if Wu Tong and the other three can analyze the system, it will be a good thing for other members in the chat group. Who knows, a large number of systems with various functions will be uploaded to the group wall in a while. They have never doubted whether Wu Tong, the hacker, can do such a thing. After all, Wu Tong, who has a supernatural comprehension as a hack, can directly deduce something more perfect and powerful with the help of the analyzed data as long as he can analyze it. And this time, Wu Tong has clearly stated that he can capture the system, so it is definitely not a problem to analyze this system. In this case, after analyzing the system, Wu Tong will definitely have a way to create a stronger system. Although it may not be available soon due to material problems, it can be said that it is expected in the future. Thinking of this, everyone can't help but look forward to it. If the group mall really reaches the level of being able to sell the system in large quantities in the future, then they will be rich, right? You know, that is a system, a famous plug-in cheat in the heavens and the worlds. Although the system made by Wu Tong and his team may not be of much use to them, it is still very convenient to use these systems to manage forces and train subordinates. Chenchi Xian'ao, I see. Well, then I wish you all can achieve your wishes this time. Dragon King spraying water, okay, in this case, you should set off quickly. Dragon King spraying water, by the way, don't forget to start the live broadcast. We also have to see the process of this mission. After all, it is the first mission, and we must check in to commemorate it. Xianji Wang, okay, I understand, Greek letter Omega. Then, Wu Tong stood up from the sofa, patted the wrinkles on his clothes, and set off directly. Because this was a chat group mission, a business trip at public expense, Wu Tong did not need to buy a ticket. Wu Tong used his mind to lightly click the Start Mission button on the group mission panel. Then, with a flash of white light, Wu Tong disappeared from the spot. Rimuru, who was looking forward to his first mission, and Hizai, who had packed all the research materials, had the same experience. Women's City World. Beside Jibachen's bed. As three light gates appeared, Wu Tong and the other two walked out. Oh, is this Jibachen? This kind of injury is quite serious. If it fell on an ordinary person, he would definitely die. Hizai looked at the young man lying on the bed for a while, and then found out Jibachen's physical condition. However, she did not start treatment first, but opened the live broadcast room casually, in the chat group. Everyone was waiting for Wu Tong and others to open the live broadcast room, ready to observe the first group mission carefully. At this time, the voice of the group assistant suddenly sounded. Group assistant, detected that group member Xianji Wang has opened the live broadcast room, record the first mission process, everyone go and have a look. Hearing this, all the group members were like people who had been hungry for 3 days and suddenly smelled meat, and all swarmed into the live broadcast room. Dragon King spraying water has joined the live broadcast room, Mortal leisurely wandering has joined the live broadcast room, Unshakable Green Lotus has joined the live broadcast room, Fanshin Yi has joined the live broadcast room. In just a moment, everyone in the group entered the live broadcast room, and Hizai, who had just opened the live broadcast room, also saw that others had come in, so she smiled and waved to the camera and said hello. Rimuru did not notice Hizai's actions, but looked at Jibachin, nodded and approved of Hizai's opinion, and said, indeed, if it were an ordinary person, this level of injury would definitely be fatal. But it seems that there is a kind of energy that is keeping him alive, so that he will not die from this injury. Wu Tong glanced at Jibachin, and then speculated, it should be the chat group who did it. In the chat group. Buyao Bilion, so miserable, Fan Chen Yi, the system is really ruthless for this level of injury. Long Wang Pen Shui, hey, shouldn't you cure him first before talking about this? Photographer G, that's right, now he looks like he's going to die in the next second. In response to the urging of those guys in the live broadcast room, Wu Tong rolled his eyes directly. Why are you urging me? I'm here, Are you still afraid that I can't cure him? Even if he's dead now, I can bring him back to life today. I'm not treating him now, I just plan to catch the system first. What if I cure him later and the chat group doesn't help suppress the system? Then won't I have to spend more effort? Well, in the end you're just lazy. Don't talk about that. Hurry up. I haven't seen the system yet. I have to observe it carefully this time. I, who was standing aside, saw Wu Tong's unhurried look and hurriedly urged. Oh, okay, I get it. Hearing this, Wu Tong shrugged, and then his face became serious. Chapter 324 Wu Tong World Master Mode. Looking at the dark figure lying on the bed, Wu Tong calmly mobilized the authority that belonged to the Lord of the World. Intelligence Brain, pay attention to assist me later. Let's capture that system together, Wu Tong said to the intelligent brain with a serious heart. The next moment, the voice of the intelligent brain sounded in Wu Tong's heart. Okay, Master. Wu Tong, who was full of confidence, immediately took action after getting the reply from the intelligent brain. I saw that a ball of light glass suddenly appeared in Wu Tong's hand. And the first time that the ball of light appeared, whether it was the people at the scene or the people who were watching the live broadcast in the chat group, they couldn't help but move their eyes over. At the first sight of the ball of light, a name inexplicably emerged in everyone's mind: the world model. That's right, this ball of light is the embodiment of a world, the representative and symbol of the world. And if this kind of ball of light appears in the hands of a creature, it means that the world has been controlled by the creature. The group of creatures that control a world has a special title in the endless void: the Lord of the World. Oh my God, what did I do wrong? Is it necessary to send the Lord of the World to arrest me? In Jibachen's body, a pink light ball that was being suppressed by a mysterious force also saw the world model in Wu Tong's hand, and immediately couldn't help trembling. God sees pity, she is just an ordinary little system. How can she let a Lord of the World come to arrest her? Although she is a member of the system family, she is only the lowest of the system family. Except for the function of the system itself, there is no other function at all. How can a useless system like her deal with the Lord of the World? And why is such a useless system like her being hunted down by the Lord of the World? Is it because of Jibachen, the useless host? Thinking that she might be hunted down because of Jibachen, the useless host, the little fairy system's heart suddenly became confused. Didn't she just kidnap this guy? Didn't she just favor girls over boys? Didn't she punish Jibachen a little too harshly? Didn't she just want to kill him to silence him in the end? Can't these people be more generous? How can they be so magnanimous? And the Lord of the World, he is a grown man, how can he have the nerve to bully a weak female system like this? Obviously, this little fairy system is well aware of the principle of it is better to embarrass others than to blame yourself. She didn't think of looking for the reason in herself at all, but only wanted to bow her head and blame Wu Tong and others. With the appearance of the world model, Wu Tong's body also exuded a unique temperament involuntarily. It is a kind of high and mighty temperament that transcends everything and regards all living beings as nothing, but also has a broad mind that tolerates everything and embraces all rivers. If everyone must describe this contradictory and harmonious temperament, then the first thought that pops up in their minds must be the world. After all, only the world itself can reconcile the contradictory temperament of overlooking everything and embracing everything. Everyone in the live broadcast room felt this noble temperament inside. Is this the temperament of the Lord of the World? It feels the same as the world itself. As witnesses of Wu Tong's world lord mode, Hizai and Rimuru naturally felt more deeply than the people in the live broadcast room. In their eyes, Wu Tong seemed to have directly transformed into a world at this moment. He gave people a feeling of supremacy and dignity. The vast and all-embracing divinity made people want to bow down. Hey, wake up! At this moment, Wu Tong's familiar voice instantly rang in their ears, pulling them out of that temperament. After coming to their senses, the two found that Wu Tong had appeared in front of them without knowing when, and was talking. After waking up the two, Wu Tong didn't say any more nonsense. After adapting to the current strength for a while, he turned his eyes to Jibachen, who was lying on the bed. Wu Tong looked at Jibachen and clenched his hand holding the world model. In an instant, buzz, with a soft hum, with the help of the intelligent brain, a gray-white light suddenly burst out from the world model in Wu Tong's hand. As soon as this gray-white light appeared, it instantly enveloped the entire room, covering the ward without leaving a single gap. It's over, I can't escape this time. Looking at the gray light that enveloped the entire room, the fairy system was suddenly desperate. No matter how unpopular she was, She was also a member of the system family. She had learned the knowledge that each system must know. Therefore, after Wu Tong released the gray light, the fairy was immediately desperate. She naturally recognized what the thing that enveloped the room was. The world's fetal membrane. Among the heavens and the worlds, one of the strongest things in the endless void. As a shield born to protect the world, its strength is absolutely appalling. Those who can destroy the world's fetal membrane either have the power of the endless void or have the power to transcend the world. Only in this way can the world's fetal membrane be destroyed, and then the entire world can be destroyed. As a useless system that can barely survive by smuggling and pleasing the lucky heroine to absorb her luck, how could she escape from this room under the obstruction of the world's fetal membrane? This time she thought she was really going to fail. If she had known earlier, she would not have kidnapped Jibachan. At this moment, the fairy system felt a little regretful under the threat of death. However, everything was too late. Live broadcast room. Dragon King sprays water. Oh, let's get started. I don't know if we can catch that system. Worldly leisurely wanderer. This power unshakable green lotus. Why? Grandpa, have you seen this great power? Worldly leisurely wanderer. Well, I felt it on Fanes before. I didn't expect that she is also the master of the world. Hungry dragon roar. Magi Yabakun. Sister Lukia also has this thing. Lukia's prototype is the creator god of American civilization, so according to this legend, she should also be one of the creator gods of the dragon-made world, and also possess the power of the world. Passerby, what a terrifying and powerful power. Chapter 325 System Capture Success, Everyone's Complaints. Continued from the last chapter, Wu Tong did not see the discussion in the live broadcast room. At this moment, Wu Tong has focused all his attention on Jibachan, who was lying on the bed. After observing Jibachan for a while, Wu Tong began to borrow the power of the world model, mobilized the power of the world, probed into Jibachan's body, and began to explore. Although the fairy system in Jibachan's body was trying its best to avoid Wu Tong's exploration, it was still oppressed by Wu Tong little by little in the remaining hiding space. Under the situation that Wu Tong completely blocked the ward, all the evasive behaviors of the fairy system were just useless. Within an instant of time, Wu Tong found the fairy system that had been playing hide-and-seek with him in the depths of Jibachan's soul. Finally found it, you little thing, you are quite good at hiding. After finding it, Wu Tong did not hesitate too much. Directly controlled the power of the world, probed into Jibachan's body, and grabbed the position of the system. I've caught you, come out. The next moment, everyone saw a pink ball of light being pulled out of Jibachan's body by Wu Tong. As soon as the ball of light came out, she instinctively wanted to struggle again. But she tried her best, but she couldn't even shake Wu Tong's grip on her equals. Seeing that she couldn't struggle free, the pink ball of light fairy system wanted to beg for mercy. Boss, spare my life, but as soon as she opened her mouth, Wu Tong threw her directly into the world model and took back the power of the world's fetal membrane. The pink ball of light was completely wrapped and suppressed in the world model using the world's fetal membrane. No matter how the ball of light hid and sprinted, it could not break out of the power of the world's fetal membrane. Wu Tong didn't have the mind to talk to a system that had been confirmed to be a fairy. He had seen what the fairy's personality was like in his previous life. Now he finally had a good mood, and he didn't want to ruin his mood because of a little fairy. In the live broadcast room, seeing that Wu Tong caught the system so easily, everyone was silent. After a long while, Yi Hei finally spoke in disbelief. Fanjin Yi, is the system so easy to be caught? Isn't this system useless? Dragon King spraying water. Well, according to the performance of the original plot, this system is indeed useless, but I never thought that it could be so useless. Photographer G, I don't know if it's an illusion, I just seem to see it struggling, but it didn't seem to be of any use at all. Buyao Bilion, it's not an illusion, it really struggled, but the result, is hard to judge. Moki Xiaonian Kaiong, okay, it's a good thing to catch it, so that Brother Tong and his research will have materials. Brother Tong and his people can't deal with those powerful systems, but this one is just right for research. After all, no matter how useless this thing is, it is still a system. Although Xiao Yan's words made sense, the people in the live broadcast room still had complicated expressions on their faces when they looked at the system in Wu Tong's hand. It's not their fault. In their impression, the system is synonymous with plugins and cheats. Originally, the process of Wu Tong capturing the system was a highlight of this live broadcast. However, it was obvious that everyone was very unhappy with this highlight. They had never thought that the performance of this pink system would be so poor. It didn't even have the ability to resist and was directly captured by Wu Tong. This situation immediately destroyed everyone's expectations for the system. It even made everyone feel that they could do it themselves, which made everyone's mood suddenly become quite complicated. Everyone in the live broadcast room was silent. However, Hizai and others did not care about the live broadcast room. At this moment, Hizai and Rimuru were attracted by the system in Wu Tong's hand. Hizai curiously approached Wu Tong's hand. He looked at the pink light ball in the world model in Wu Tong's hand with a puzzled look. After a while, she started to complain, "Is this pink light ball the system? The little thing looks quite unique, but it feels just like that? Nothing special." Hearing this, Wu Tong rolled his eyes at her. "If you could see it with your eyes, you wouldn't be as strong as you are now. You would have become a transcendent long ago." "Well, that's true. Forget it. Since we have caught it, let's start working." Hearing Wu Tong's words, Hizai also knew that he couldn't see anything just by looking, so he began to roll his eyes. "I have insight. Prepare to take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to analyze this little white mouse system that is so close. Mobilize the backup hidden energy, small universe computer, the exchanged great sage skills and his own space-based computing group and other auxiliary analysis things. Establish a data analysis model, load the database, and load the experimental data record table." After getting everything he needed, Hizai stared at the pink system light ball and began to analyze the system with all his strength. Rimuru, who was standing by, saw that Hexi had already started to act, and he also started to analyze it. However, Rimuru did not have the fancy preparations like Hexi. Rimuru directly asked the King of Wisdom, who had devoured several celestial computers, to use all his strength to analyze the system light ball. The fake protagonist, King Rimuru, the real protagonist, Teacher Seal. Wu Tong saw this and did not disturb the two, because he was also very curious about whether Hexi and Rimuru could analyze such a weak system. If they could, it would be a good thing. After all, in this way, he would not have to bother him to analyze it again. So, Wu Tong, who was very curious, threw the world model in his hand and let it float in the air in front of the two people, making it easier for them to analyze it. Wu Tong then stopped paying attention to the two people who were already immersed in the analysis system, and looked at Jibochin lying on the bed, and said, "By the way, now that the system has caught you, it's time to treat you now." After that, Wu Tong waved his hand, and a golden light shot out from his hand. In mid-air, it turned into a streak of light, wrapped around Jibochin's body, and wrapped his entire body in it. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.